Recently, unusual natural disasters like volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, lightning, and floods have been occurring worldwide. In a city in China, a volcano suddenly erupted violently, causing the city's temperature to soar to suffocating levels. Tens of thousands of residents, realizing the approaching danger, quickly packed up and moved to other cities in search of safety. Inside a moving bus, the atmosphere was chaotic. Everyone was actively discussing the strange events happening recently. A young man couldn't hold back his emotions and cursed. Damn it, there was an undersea earthquake a few days ago. Then Mount Fuji erupted, killing hundreds of thousands, and now even we have to evacuate. A fiery young woman sitting next to him, after checking her luggage, anxiously said, "This is bad. I left in such a rush, I didn't bring anything. Probably just have to go to Jiangnan City to buy some supplies." The young man by the window, who had been gazing at the desolate scenery outside, suddenly turned and asked the beauty, "Have you checked the news yet? All the stock in a Liok Nima warehouse in Jiangnan City has already been cleared out." Hearing this, the girl widened her eyes in shock and exclaimed, "What? No way, that stockpile must have been worth hundreds of billions." The young man sitting opposite chimed in with a warning tone, "That's old news. Today, the warehouse in Shenxing, owned by Hu Dongming, is also empty, and the Dairun Dong warehouse has been moved out too." Suddenly, a cold voice from the back seat decisively refuted all previous information. "It's not just hundreds of billions, it's tens of trillions worth of supplies gone missing. These disasters are clear signs. Open your eyes. The apocalypse is coming." The speaker was our main character, Tuthain. Hearing Tuthan say such horrifying words, the fiery girl and the two young men in front couldn't help but burst into laughter, thinking he was just joking. "No way, apocalypse. Are you kidding? If it really is the apocalypse, I'd kind of look forward to it. That would be true equality for all beings." Hearing this, then inwardly felt annoyed, thinking, there's no such thing as equality even on the apocalypse day, because he was someone who had directly experienced the apocalypse. Memories of his past life slowly flooded to Than's mind, recalling terrifying scenes that few could believe could happen in the present time. "In my past life, I was just a regular food delivery guy until the apocalypse happened due to abnormal solar energy emissions. The Earth's core was affected and quickly destabilized. Global temperatures soared, Earth's crust violently shifted, and monsters lurking deep underground gradually emerged to the surface. The whole world changed and a new order was established. In that new world, supplies became extremely scarce. Even a pack of noodles or a single sausage was so valuable, you'd risk your life to get it." Tuthan continued calmly, "Have you ever bitten into a sausage?" Then I confirmed, "I am the one who came back to life from the apocalypse. I returned to 1 month before it happened." The busty girl beside him, after hearing these terrifying words, couldn't hide her confusion and immediately grabbed Tuthan's hand. Brother then pressed her hot body close to him, her voice trembling. "What you said just now scared me a bit. Could you?" But the present Tuthan, who just returned from the hellish future, was no longer so easily swayed. He immediately pushed her hand away, leaving her stunned. "Sorry, I have more important things to do." After getting off at the next bus stop, then quickly headed to his old workplace, the warehouse of Mr. Hippo. Standing before the vast warehouse, Tuthan looked up with determined eyes and said in a low voice, "The apocalypse is coming soon. What's the most important thing?" But he immediately answered himself, "Of course, supplies." In his past life, he wasted too much time just searching for supplies and still died miserably. But this life, he wouldn't let that happen again. Tuthan stepped inside the warehouse where I worked loading goods every day. Just as I reached the door, the grumpy manager was already waiting. 21 seconds late, half a day's wage deducted. I scratched my head, forcing a smile. "Sorry," then quickly went inside. As I walked, my eyes scanned the entire supply-filled space, my heart flooded with memories of the apocalypse in my past life. The boss was the first to flee, losing a whole year's salary. These supplies were basically compensation. I, Tuthan, hurried into the warehouse, checking quantities while preparing to activate the special power I gained after reincarnation. He stood straight, slowly raising his hand forward, and commanded, "Open the space." Immediately, a strange space gate opened before him. A system notification appeared. Detected rice cooking oil. Meat are being automatically absorbed. Tuthan's space system was truly powerful. As soon as it was activated, it instantly sucked in all the nearby supplies, leaving nothing behind. Tuthan stepped into his private space, a three-dimensional area covering up to 10,000 square meters in length, width, and height. He glanced around, eyes shining brightly, excited, as if he had just found a new lease on life. This is my ability. Dimensional space, just open it, and everything around will be drawn into this space. He whispered to himself, with this power, I can absorb all the resources in a city about to be destroyed. Using this space, I once drained 2 lakes, took everything from supermarkets, wholesale markets, and warehouses. In the apocalypse, even a pack of instant noodles is a luxury, let alone fresh food. The special thing was that time inside this space completely froze, meaning any food placed inside would remain fresh forever. Tathan couldn't hold back tears of joy, thinking quietly, finally I don't have to eat dirt like in my previous life anymore. He brushed the dust off his hands. He opened the system list to check the collected supplies. A list appeared before him: rice 258 bags, cooking oil 52 bottles, green vegetables 155 kilos, bottled water 20 bottles, instant food 375 cartons, spices 95 cartons, alcohol 186 bottles. Looking at the list, Tathan silently sighed, very good. Finally, I can feel somewhat at ease. At that moment, the sound of a metal door being pushed open loudly came from outside. The manager and 2 movers came in. Walking in, the manager shouted loudly, "You guys help move the goods out with me." But after just 1 step, all 3 stopped abruptly, eyes wide as they looked around the empty space before them. The entire warehouse that was piled with goods was now completely empty. The manager gasped, stammering, I must be seeing things. Where's the goods? He shifted to anger, pointing straight at then shouting furiously, where's everything? I'm asking you. Tathan remained calm, slowly raising his hand. Another small space gate appeared behind him. He smiled and said, the goods, I took them all. His casual answer stunned all 3 people before him as if they had turned to stone. Something felt off. The manager immediately shouted, he wants to run. Catch him, stop him. The 2 strong movers rushed forward to try to restrain Tathan. But at that moment, he opened another space gate, quickly jumped back, and disappeared inside. Before leaving, he turned back, smiled, and waved. That's right, I won't be late for work anymore. The staff rushed forward, but only managed to miss by a hair. He hadn't even touched Tathan when the space gate slammed shut. All 3, the manager and 2 employees, blinked, staring into the void, eyes full of confusion and panic. Where did he go? Did he really disappear? Outside the warehouse, another teleportation gate suddenly appeared. Tathan flipped out smoothly from inside and landed gently and skillfully like in an action movie. He immediately closed the space gate, determination in his heart. This is my second ability. Spatial leap. I can teleport within a 3-meter range anytime. Tathan glanced back at the warehouse one last time. In the apocalypse, this ability would become his trump card. Thanks to it, he could infiltrate ruined areas to find supplies and then retreat safely, even when facing the most dangerous mutated creatures. Tathan took off his uniform, threw the shirt up, and whispered, that's it. The zero-cost shopping campaign is over. He was about to leave when suddenly his phone rang. A message from the government: currently global mobilization is happening intensely. Localized natural disasters will occur. However, the entire situation is under control. It will not affect people's daily lives. Please do not panic. After reading the message, Tathan clicked his tongue. The government is afraid of causing panic. They know the apocalypse is coming, but still try to reassure the people. I was about to turn off the phone and continue leaving when an unexpected call appeared on the screen. The caller's name caused Tathan's expression to instantly shift from calm to full of anger. Tathan looked at the caller ID on his phone, Kung Hyo Tin, the woman he once wholeheartedly loved, cared for, and protected every meal and every sleep in the apocalypse. Now she only made him feel bone-chilling coldness. After a moment of silence, he took a deep breath and pressed the answer button. Hello? On the other end, Kung Hyo Tin's voice immediately rang out, full of annoyance with no politeness. Tathan, do you dare play the disappearing act on me? And you even hung up on the real estate agent. What's that about? You're completely unreliable. Do you think selling the house means some girl will stick around you? While talking, she applied lipstick and complained as if scolding a familiar man. She continued in a reproachful tone full of dramatics. Although I don't care if your house is big or small, I'm still a girl. If you don't give me the house, how am I supposed to feel safe being with you? Tathan's voice turned as cold as ice upon hearing this. You called just to say that? Kung Hyo Tin immediately showed irritation, sensing the coldness from the other end. You better have an attitude, because I'm giving you one more chance. Transfer the house to me right away. Otherwise, don't even dream of marrying me. Without letting her say more, Tathan coldly cut off the call. He muttered, I'm on my way back to Thungdo, we'll talk later. After hanging up, Tathan's expression gradually turned serious and then angry. He recalled what had happened in the past. The past of his previous life was full of blood and betrayal. Kung Hyo Teen, in the last life we lived together 5 years in the apocalypse. I was the one who went everywhere searching for supplies to feed you. I was the one who brought you into the safe zone. Without me, you would have starved to death outside long ago. Toden clenched his phone tightly, his eyes filled with hatred. In his mind, the cruel memory resurfaced again. Vung Halvu Kung Hyo Teen's accomplice had strangled Toten mercilessly. In that suffocating moment, he clearly saw his own terrified and panicked face when betrayed. A soft question caught in his throat. Just as he stopped breathing, Kung Hyo Tien approached Vung Halvu with an inviting look. Since Unthin is dead, it means he's useless. Now it's our turn. She acted like a weak, innocent girl, seducing Vung Halvu, a man overflowing with lust. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Since he's dead, you have to show tonight. No fear, no pity, only cold fake cruelty. Immediately after, the girl who had once been everything to him spread her legs and invited Vung Halvu in as if nothing had happened. In the last life, I was truly a fool. Yet I gave all my trust to those two wretched people. Toten clenched his fists until they trembled, then relaxed and sighed softly. This time, Kung Hyo Tien Vung Halvu, you will pay. Not just die, but die painfully. The pain I endured, I want you to taste it 100 times over. As soon as he finished speaking, he opened his contacts and called Director Lu, the real estate agent managing his house. As soon as the line was answered, Tothon spoke urgently. Hello, Director Lu. I'm willing to sell the house at half price. I just need cash immediately. After hanging up, Tothon immediately took a taxi to Director Lu's real estate office. As the car stopped in front, he caught sight of Kung Hyo Tien and Vung Halvu already waiting there. As soon as they saw him, Kung Hyo Tien curled her lips with a sarcastic tone. Do you know how long I've been waiting? Toden got out of the car and coldly walked past her, brushing aside all old feelings, and sharply said, move aside. Both Kung Hyo Tien and Vung Halvu were stunned by Tohun's unusual behavior. Vung Halvu immediately blocked his way, face fierce. Who gave you permission to sell the house? Dare to sell my uncle's house? Let me tell you, do you believe I'll make you never see the sun again tomorrow? Faced with his fierce expression and threats, Tothon said nothing. Silently reached out, grabbed Vung Halvu by the neck, and lifted him like a sack of sand. The sudden action panicked Vung Halvu. Before he could react, Toten slammed him hard onto the ground. Blood splattered from his mouth, eyes rolled back, screaming in pain. Tothon coldly bent down, biting each word. I decide how to deal with my own head. Kwang Hyo Tien was horrified by Tothan's violent action, immediately rushing forward to grab his shirt, crying and throwing a tantrum. Let go! What are you doing? Is there anyone help? He's killing someone. But unlike the weak image she usually used to win people over this time, Tothan showed no mercy. He slapped her hard, as if struck by lightning, causing her to fall to the ground, dazed, not understanding what was happening. She raised her hand to her cheek, eyes full of confusion, staring at Tothan in shock. You still? Meanwhile, Wang Halvu, whose neck Tothan had been squeezing for so long, was now fading between life and death, struggling to whisper through the pain, let go. Tothan looked at him with disdain. Don't worry, you won't die that easily. As soon as he released his grip, Wang Halvu, feeling like he had just escaped, the Grim Reaper coughed violently and quickly crawled backward, his eyes panicked as if facing a real demon. Tothan ignored the two treacherous men writhing there and walked straight into the real estate office to continue his plan. Behind him, Kwang Hyo Tien hurried over to support Wang Halvu, her voice anxious. Xiaovu, are you okay? Even after lying and cuddling like chickens, she still pretended to care. Truly a cheap woman, she seemed not to understand what was going on and immediately turned to look after Tothan, then shouting, You stop right there. I'm giving you one last favor. Kneel down and apologize. Otherwise, don't dream of marrying me for the rest of your life. Tothan said nothing more, just coldly turned around, casting a sharp yet kind gaze toward the two deceitful people. Wang Halvu and Kwang Hyo Tien noticed the lingering killing intent from Tothan, and immediately both cowardly fled in panic. Wang Halvu ran while shouting angrily, Just wait, I'll get you. Tothan watched their cowardly backs and softly muttered, Losers. A moment later at the real estate office, Director Lu warmly poured water to offer too. Then, though inside he harbored cunning schemes. With a fake smile, he said, Mr. To, I want to buy your house back. What do you think? This Director Lu appeared respectful and polite on the outside, but concealed deep and sinister intentions. He secretly calculated that the house worth over 1 million, If bought back for 700,000 from this fool would net him tens of thousands in profit with ease. Tathan sipped water and smiled, replying, "Possible, but full payment must be made." "Can you pay today?" Tathan's words made Director Liu feel like he'd struck gold. He quickly and warmly confirmed, "Yes, yes. We'll sign the contract and transfer the title next week after payment." Holding the contract in hand, Tathan quickly nodded to agree, thinking to himself, "By then the house is your choice as long as you dare to live there." Immediately after, Director Liu, looking reputable, transferred the money to Tathan's account. Tathan checked his phone for a bank message. "Thuongdo Bank NDT 700 Zirzozin has been deposited into your current account." After the mutual agreement was completed, Tathan politely said goodbye to Director Liu. Leaving the office, he walked while pondering. Even though natural disasters are frequent nowadays, Thuongdo lies in the Central Plains, far from earthquake zones, tsunamis, or volcanic eruptions. Moreover, the government has dismissed all rumors, so life here remains orderly and peaceful. Suddenly, Tathan passed by a utility pole plastered with flyers advertising quick loans. He smirked slightly, thinking to himself, "What you need most right now is money. Whoever dares to lend, I dare to borrow it all. How I repay later is up to me. You guys pick a package to help me, ha ha ha, that's him." Noticing the loan service flyer, Tathan stopped and silently wondered, is this a usury loan? Fast as lightning. Realizing an opportunity to make money had arrived, Tathan immediately pulled out his phone and dialed, "Hello. Hello. Is this a lending company? I have a real estate certificate. Can it be used as collateral?" After contacting them, Tathan quickly arrived at the agreed location in the Han Hai International Building at the Dai Hai Loan Limited Liability Company office. The fat guy Wang Dai Hai smoothly explained to Tathan, "Prince Charming, your house isn't very valuable." Hearing this, Tathan raised an eyebrow and asked, "So how much can we borrow?" He glanced at the fat man before him, feeling disgusted inside. Turns out this was Wang Haovu's boss. This fat guy, Wang Dai Hai, died a miserable death in his past life, devoured by a beast. While puffing on a cigarette, Wang Dai Hai held Tuoshen's property deed and replied, "The most you can borrow is 500,000, but the deed has to be pledged to me." Tuoshen didn't want to get involved any further with this guy, so he immediately stood up, placed his hand on the deed, and decisively concluded, "Add another 100,000, I'll settle it now." Tuoshen reassured the other party, confidently promising that if given a week, the lost money would be fully repaid. Hearing this firm assurance, Wang Haowu secretly felt relieved, realizing the other party was just a gambling addict once hooked. He'd even dare to sell his own parents to recover lost money. "Idiot, let's see if I don't play you to the death today." Wang Dai Hai puffed on his cigarette and reminded him to just bring the deed to pledge at his company. Everything else will be easy to handle. After finishing the deal with Wang Dai Hai, Tuoshen immediately received 600,000 yuan directly transferred into his account. Meanwhile, elsewhere, where Kwang Xiaoxian and Wang Haowu were standing, Kwang Xiaoxian touched the bruise on his cheek in frustration, muttering, "I'm just taking back what's mine." "What's wrong with that? This guy actually dared to lay hands on me. He definitely has to pay." Wang Haowu got out of the taxi, clutching his sore neck, gritting his teeth, and swearing, "I'll make that bastard pay. Damn it, let the boss kill him." Suddenly, Tuoshen appeared and passed by. Kwang Xiaoxian was stunned, startled, and confused, then turned to ask Wang Haowu, Xiaowu, do you think that's Tuoshen?" Wang Haowu, holding his neck face pained and angry, nodded in confirmation. "Damn right, that's the kid. What's he doing here?" Kwang Xiaoxian's anger flared up, clenching his fists, determined to get to the bottom of this. "Let's keep an eye on what this guy's been up to these past few days." The place Tuoshen headed to was the Six Cities Hotel. In his memories, many commercial buildings had collapsed under the destruction caused by seawater flooding and the harsh freezing cold causing them to quickly fall apart. But the Six Cities Hotel stood firm through all kinds of natural disasters. Tuoshen leisurely walked inside, pondering, "I heard the presidential suite here is fully equipped with amenities, even has a swimming pool. If I choose this place as a long-term base, it really costs 0 yuan. Although many warehouses had been abandoned before they lacked hot food and fresh vegetables essentials for an ideal shelter." Seeing a guest enter, receptionist Lu Hani, cute and professional, immediately greeted, "Hello, I'm the hotel's food and beverage manager, Lu Hani. How can I assist you, Mr. Tuoshen?" She was instantly stunned by his request. "Hello, I want to book 1,000 banquet tables. Is that possible?" Lu Hani could hardly believe her ears and asked in surprise, 1,000. 1,000 tables. After a moment of confusion, she quickly regained her composure, smiling as she replied, "It's possible, it's possible. We have packages priced at 5,000 yuan per table, 10,000 per table, and higher options at 30,000 or 50,000 per table." While introducing Liu Hani sneaked a glance at Tuo Shen, silently thinking, "Oh my God, this poised young man turns out to be a hidden rich second generation." Tuo Shen calmly smiled and chose, "Then 10,000 per table. A total of 10 million. I'll put down a deposit of 500,000. The remaining amount will be paid in a week." After confirming with the hotel, Tuo Shen quietly assessed that the six cities' hotel standards were indeed as upscale as rumored. Liu Hani's face brightened as she warmly invited, "A 500,000 deposit, all right? Please follow me this way to make the payment." Tuo Shen nodded with a smile. The estimated cost of ingredients had already reached 500,000, but to build relationships with wealthy clients, the money was well worth it. In business, the most important thing is knowing how to behave tactfully. Liu Hani led Tuo Shen while curiously asking, "By the way, how should I address you?" Tuo Shen replied coldly, "Tuo Shen." Liu Hani, unable to contain her curiosity, continued, "Mr. Tuo, are you booking the banquet for a wedding?" Tuo Shen caught the idea immediately and nodded, "Yes, a wedding. And please help me book a presidential suite." After completing payment and deposit, Tuo Shen left the Six Cities Hotel in high spirits, thinking happiness indeed, booking a 10 million banquet, putting down a 500,000 deposit, and the final payment, haha. On this scorching doomsday, even a block of ice is worth hundreds of millions. Liu Hani, seeing the presidential suite for the first time, couldn't hide her excitement, silently exclaiming, "Oh my God, this is the honeymoon presidential suite. Whoever marries him will definitely be overflowing with happiness. This girl is cute, but curses a bit too much, hey." At the same time, Kwang Hyo-tian and Wang Haovu secretly observed from outside. After witnessing Tuo, then making a transaction and talking with the hotel staff, Kwang Hyo-tian approached and asked Liu Hani, "Hello, may I ask what the person who just came here was doing?" Liu Hani looked at her inquisitively. "The person just now, may I ask, are you Kwang Hyo-tian?" She immediately replied, "He is to then my boyfriend." Hearing this, Liu Hani felt a hint of sadness, but still answered, "Your boyfriend just reserved a 1,000-table banquet at our hotel, putting down a deposit of 500,000 yuan. You're really lucky to have a boyfriend like that." Liu Hani observed Kwang Hyo clicked her tongue and thought to herself, "This girl only has about 7 points of charisma, even less than me. Do rich people like this type?" Hearing the receptionist confirm the matter, both Kwang Hyo-tian and Wang Haovu were stunned and shouted in unison, "No, that can't be. How could he have money to book 1,000 banquet tables?" Liu Hani opened Tuthan's transaction info on the computer and explained, "Wealthy people often like to hide their identity, afraid their girlfriends will pry into their assets. They only reveal everything on the wedding day." Hearing this, Kwang Hyo-tian began imagining grand scenarios in her head. So before the wedding, they suddenly disappear. Then what if they cause psychological pressure or something? Wang Haovu asked blankly, "Is that damned Then really a wealthy person?" Wu Hanni showed her phone screen to both of them and confirmed, "Of course. Here's the 500,000 yuan just transferred." After gathering information about Tuthan, Kwang Hyo-tian and Wang Haovu left the hotel. Wang Haovu puffed on a cigarette and asked her, "So who is he planning to invite to 1,000 banquet tables at a 5-star hotel?" Kwang Hyo-tian's face lit up, chest swelling with pride as she replied, "You don't understand. Of course it's to introduce me to the upper class, to publicly reveal my identity." Wang Haovu immediately stood up, about to pull some trick, his face showing slyness as he asked, Hey, so what should we do?" Kwang Hyo-tian waved her hand decisively. "I'll take the initiative and give this flatterer a chance to expose himself." Luxurious visions began to appear in her mind, making her mentally ecstatic. She had never dreamed of such a scene in her whole life. Unexpectedly, she could make it happen on that flatterer Tuthan. Meanwhile, Tuthan sat seriously at his desk, carefully recalculating his expenses. Sold house for 700,000 yuan. Loaned 600,000 yuan with high interest. Ordered food costing 550,000 yuan. But the previous zero-spending shopping still left many essential items unbought. Although he only put down a deposit of 800,000 yuan, the rest was not exactly plenty. Among the 36 strategies, fleeing is the best. Tuthan suddenly had an idea, his eyes shining brightly as if seeing the light of the future. He grinned wickedly. Hey, if I don't borrow online now, that would be a pity. Tathan quickly downloaded more than 80 online loan apps at once, each allowing a loan of 30,000 yuan. He began posing for selfies, carefully following the app's instructions to complete the loan procedures. After persistently fishing for loans on various platforms, Tu then threw down his phone and exhaled in relief. A notification from the bank rang out. Your unlimited account has accumulated 977,000 yuan today. Tathan leaned back, relaxing his muscles and enjoying the relief. Finally received an online loan worth 9.7 million yuan. But immediately he sat up, his eyes determined, no more time to waste. There were still many things to buy. With the money he had, Tathan began browsing e-commerce sites from Shopee to Lazada and even Tiki to order necessary items. He worked while carefully calculating heater wall-mounted ice maker ice cubes lean coal. These items were not easy to find in the city. Luckily, they could be bought online and shipped quickly. Tathan recalled the two extreme poles of Earth after the apocalypse. Extreme heat followed by extreme cold. Surviving those stages depended on preparing these items enough. Finding the phone number of a coal supplier. Tathan immediately called, "Hello, may I ask the current price of lean coal?" To 500 yuan per ton. I'll take 2,000 tons, price is not an issue. I will transfer 500,000 yuan first and pay the rest upon delivery. Yes, sir. Then Tathan contacted the ice factory. Hello, is this the ice factory? I want to order ice cubes. I'll come by in person to discuss. Just as he stepped out the door, Tathan unexpectedly ran into Kung Hu Tien and Li Na, walking together. After hearing Hu Tian's story, Li Na secretly changed her opinion about Tathan. Seeing him walk by, Li Na spoke sweetly. Oh my, isn't that Tathan? Long time no see. Tien has been thinking about you these past few days. Tathan glanced at Li Na, thinking to himself, Li Na, my best friend who always talks bad about me behind my back. Kung Hu Tien is the one who took over my house. Hearing Li Na say that, Tathan coldly replied, thinking about what? Thinking about my house. Seeing Tathan's unusually cold attitude, Li Na awkwardly stammered to explain, Hey, Then, Hu Tien was just testing you back then. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Don't you know how heartbroken Hu Tien was? Kung Hu Tien pretended to be gentle, blushing as she stepped closer, trying to hold on to Tathan. Tathan, can you come with me? I'm not in a good mood. I upset you yesterday. Please don't be mad at me. But Tathan, knowing what he does about Hu Tien's true nature, in the apocalypse coldly walked away. I have something to do today. You go take a walk by yourself. Kung Hu Tien and Li Na looked confused and exchanged remarks in unison. What's going on here? This guy's acting is just too real. Li Na watched Tathan's figure and announced Tathan drove off already. She thought to herself and reminded Hu Tien to hurry after him. This is definitely his test for you. A while later at the Manhwa ice factory, Boss and Go was already waiting at the gate. As soon as Tathan got out of the car, Boss and Go warmly ran up to shake his hand and greet. Are you Boss To? Truly talented at a young age. Tathan smiled in response. Boss and Go, I already called earlier and explained over the phone 2,000 tons of ice for consumption. How long will it take to finish? Hearing Tathan's question, Boss and Go proudly patted his chest. Our ice factory. I can't speak for others, but our work efficiency is absolutely number one. 2,000 tons of ice for consumption will only take 3 days. 400 yuan per ton, total. 800,000 deal. Tathan didn't haggle and immediately opened his phone to transfer the money. Okay, I'll put down a deposit of 100,000 first. Deliver to the address I provide in 3 days. Boss and Go happily raised his QR code and laughed loudly. All right, no problem. After Tathan completed the transfer, Boss and Go beamed his eyes, sparkling with money, and said, Hey, Boss To, why do you need so much ice? Some big event going on. We can cooperate in the future too. I'll give you a better price. Tathan stepped out of the car, smiling as he replied, I'm heading to the Anso Federation to do charity work. Tathan's answer stunned Boss and Go, who had been overjoyed moments before. After Tathan left, Boss and Go watched the car go and thought to himself, this 800,000 deal is done. Young people really do have high work efficiency. Shortly after, Li Na and Kung Hu Tien's car also stopped in front of the ice factory. Boss and Go turned around in confusion, surprised. Someone else came to do business without an appointment. Kung Hu Tien opened the car door shyly, asking Boss and Go, Boss Tathan is my fiancé. What were you just talking about? Go looked slightly puzzled at Hyotian fiancé. What's this playing secret agent game still, he answered. Ah, Boss To, just ordered 800,000 yuan worth of ice from us. Hearing Go confirm Lina and Kung Hyo-tin were startled and panicked. 800,000 yuan on ice. It's certain now Tothan is a tycoon, a mega tycoon. Lina's face showed shock as she asked again, what does Boss Tothan want to do? Go put his hand to his chin, recalling, he said he was going to the NSA Federation to do charity. Go's answer left the two girls going from one surprise to another. Then Totan drove to a high-end restaurant in the city, sat down and reviewed everything he had ordered, all settled. The remaining time could be spent enjoying the sunlight before the apocalypse arrived. In his previous life, he was so busy with business, he didn't even have time to stop by a cafe, let alone a luxury restaurant. While Totan was lost in thought, a waiter approached, cheerfully greeting and handing him the menu. Totan flipped through it, thinking about delicious fried foie gras, salted frog duck tongue, and golden sauce. And no wonder it's a fine dining restaurant. The average cost goes up to 4 figures. Suddenly, Totan flipped to a page with a question mark priced at 17,000 yuan. Curious, he asked, what is this a question mark selling for 17,000 yuan? The waiter smiled and explained, this is a dish personally created by the head chef, Na Lum, of the restaurant. The specifics depend on the chef's creativity. Yes, Tothan found this restaurant quite interesting and nodded. This dish is unique. Let me order this one. The waiter immediately responded, yes, sir. After the waiter left, Tothan looked around the restaurant, noticing the delicately arranged bookshelves. He stepped over to take a copy of Shanghai Jing to read. As he flipped through the pages, Tothan got lost in thought. Before the apocalypse, a strange power caused many creatures to become abnormal. The strange beasts described in Shanghai Jing were exactly like the monsters he had witnessed. These abnormal changes, if explained as species reappearance, were the return of ancestral traits over generations like growing tails, body hair, and many other odd features. While Tothan was absorbed in thought, a beautiful girl with pink hair in a bright dress came out carrying a dish, introducing herself. Hello, dear guest. I'm Na Lam, the head chef of the restaurant. This dish was inspired by your style. Tothan looked up at Na Lam. Suddenly, a memory flashed in his mind, and he was amazed to realize that wasn't she, the Hell's Kitchen demon from his past life. During the apocalypse, Na Lam was known as the Hell's Kitchen demon, able to turn the rotten meat of strange beasts into irresistibly delicious dishes, but whoever ate them could not escape death. Nyalam noticed Tothan's confused expression and thought, what's with that look? Does he think a great beauty like me would poison the food? She smiled and tried to explain that this dish has 5 layers of flavor, like the 2 faces of life, one side pan-seared with oil, the other crispy fried with a 1,000-layer batter, a 2-flavor steak that makes people unable to resist tasting. Tothan immediately picked up the plate and tasted the dish, then smiled and praised, Can't help but say this is very delicious. 17,000 NDT is truly worth it. While enjoying it, he thought to himself, if she cooked for him during the apocalypse, God only knows whether she'd poison the food or not. Meanwhile, outside, Lina and Kwang Hyo-tin were sneaking a look. Lina kept slapping her thigh, trying to shoo away swarming mosquitoes, her face scrunched up. I heard a dish here costs over 10,000 yuan. Your husband must be super rich if you become a rich lady. Don't forget your sisters. I'm about to get eaten alive by mosquitoes. Kwang Hyo-tin didn't take her eyes off the scene inside, nodding and replying, yeah, I'm definitely going to be a rich lady. After finishing the meal at He Lam's restaurant, Tothan continued his journey to the Baba Century restaurant. Standing at the door, he thought to himself, Baba Century is the most extravagant, money-burning place in Thuongdo. Wealthy people have spent millions here, and he still didn't even know what abalone looked like. But when the apocalypse comes, places like these decadent dens wouldn't exist anymore. In his past life, his biggest regret was never setting foot here. While Tothan held a glass of wine lost in memories, a group of excited girls surrounded him, their voices full of excitement. Hey, handsome, why aren't you drinking? Come drink with us. Tothan felt a bit shy and replied, okay. While the other girls were lively and passionate, a girl sitting next to Tothan was rather calm and slightly shy. Seeing Tothan looking at her, she came closer, filled his glass, and introduced, this is Van Van's first time here. Her boyfriend cheated on her, so we brought her here to cheer her up. Van Van, with a tense and sad face, said, that jerk, I wouldn't even let him sleep with me. And he went looking for some old lady. Seriously, no class. You men really care about sleeping with women that much. Tathan calmly raised his glass and explained men's lust is deeply ingrained in their bones. Tathan's words made Van Van even more tired, and she immediately downed her glass in one go. Seeing that, Tathan looked confused and reminded her, "Hey, that cup isn't water." After finishing the glass of strong alcohol, Van Van slammed the cup on the table and shouted, "Handsome, are you single?" Tathan was a bit surprised by her boldness and confirmed, Yeah, single." As soon as Tathan admitted he was single, Van Van immediately leaned in with a flushed face and said, "So do you want to see my friend's bold moves?" The two friends next to her immediately cheered, "That's right, that jerk doesn't deserve you." Van Van courageously stepped forward. At the same time, Lena and Kwang Hyo Tien also entered the restaurant looking around for Tothan. Hearing Van Van's friends shouting, Kwang Hyo Tien immediately turned and recognized Tothan. She looked at him and shouted, "Tathan, what are you doing?" Lena agreed. "Is this cheating?" Tathan saw the two girls and immediately put his arm around Van Van beside him, reminding her, "Come on, come outside with me." Vun Vun was swept up by Totun's strong aura, thinking silently this man is truly the real deal. Totun pulled Vun Vun to her feet and quickly ran upstairs. "Let's go up." Downstairs, Lena and Kung Hyo Tien chased after them, shouting loudly, "Totun, stop right there. Let me have her." Totun pulled Vun Vun into a room upstairs, gently locked the door, then turned and said, "Sorry to both of you. I didn't get a chance to explain earlier." Vun Vun blushed shyly and said, "This is my first time." Seeing her embarrassed expression, Totun thought to himself about this girl, then flicked Vun Vun lightly on the forehead, making her yelp, "Ouch." Tothan reminded her, "Drunk already? Get yourself together. Don't go out for the next few days. Stock up on plenty of food at home." Vun Vun winced in pain and stammered, Okay, I will." Totun opened the door and stepped outside, not forgetting to warn, "And one more thing, if you want a date, don't look for anyone here. After this, there won't be a after this anymore." He closed the door, thinking to himself that it was rare to have an opportunity like this. Leaving so suddenly was truly hard to do. But just as he stepped out, Totun immediately faced a terrifying scene, Lena banging on the door and shouting loudly. Totun can't treat Hyo Tien like that when she's right beside him. Kung Hyo Tien kicked the door threateningly. "I know you're inside." Seeing the scene before him, Totun sighed deeply. With these two here tonight, there's no way it's going to be a happy night. At the warehouse in the suburbs that Totun chose, the orders placed this morning began to be delivered. As the truck stopped, the driver and delivery staff all shouted at once, "Boss To, huh? Where do we put these 2 containers?" Boss To answered, "This warehouse doesn't have refrigeration. Aren't you afraid the ice will melt? I'm delivering coal here." Totun walked around the family warehouse. He asked everyone to move the heaters and ice machines inside. At the same time, he directed them to block the entrance with large stones. He instructed clearly, "Just place the stones right here." At this time, Vung Hao Vu Na and Kung Hyo Tien also arrived in the suburban area. Vung Buibiao squeezed through the crowd, whispering back to Hyo Tien's sister Thien. Totun rented a big warehouse out here in the suburbs. He bought a lot of bulky machines. I don't know what they are, but they're all being moved into the warehouse. Kung Hyo Tien's face showed curiosity as she muttered in thought, "What exactly is Tothan planning?" Lena noticed a group of people carrying items from the Sixth Hotel, quickly grabbed Hyo Tien's arm, and excitedly reported, "Hyo Tien, look, isn't this the banquet from the Sixth Hotel? The red carpet is already laid out. Do you think he's going to propose to you and then guests from everywhere will rush over?" Lena's words made Kung Hyo Tien feel like she was flying on clouds. Her face bright and confident, she replied, "Yeah, even if he proposes, I'm not sure. I'd say yes." "Lena, come with me over there to see how sincere he really is." Kung Hyo Tien stepped up to Totun and asked Totun, "Why are you buying so many things like this?" Totun took off his jacket, his face cold as he glanced at Hyo Tien and replied, "Did you come here to help me move stuff? When the moving is done, I'll tell you." Totun told himself he had to help. Hyo Tien frowned, thinking, "What kind of joke is this moving stuff? I'm about to become a rich lady. Why do I have to do these things?" Seeing her hesitation, Lena immediately ran over and nudged her shoulder as a reminder. "He's probably testing you. He wants to see if you're qualified to be a rich lady." Hearing Lena's analysis, Hyo Tien nodded, feeling it made sense. Though her face still frowned, she immediately rolled up her sleeves and ran over to help lift some boxes. "Fine, I'm not a proud woman anyway." With a sultry expression and flashy clothes, Kung Hyo Tien tried her best to lift a box onto her shoulder. Her face twisted in pain, but she told herself, "To boost morale to become a big rich lady, I definitely need noble character and profound knowledge." As long as I pass today's test, Tothan will definitely marry me. Nearby Lina wasn't going to lose striking a sexy pose to deliberately attract Tothan's attention. Big brother, Tothan. I'm here to help too. While posing seductively, Lena thought, what rich guy isn't a little lustful? Just showing some goodwill. Even if I don't become a rich lady, at least I'll gain some benefit. Tothan watched the two girls willingly offering themselves at the door, smirking to himself. Free labor is a waste if unused. 1,000 banquet tables, 2,000 tons of ice. Even if the hotel and factory sent more people, it would take a long time to finish. After all the goods from various places were transported and delivered to the warehouse, evening had fallen. Seeing the work completed, Tothan stretched and shouted loudly, finally done. At the warehouse door, after a long day of hard public labor, Kung Hu-tin was drenched in sweat from inside out, trembling with a grimacing face, blaming Tothan. Tothan is really too much. Moving stuff from morning till afternoon and not even one meal invitation. When I become a rich lady, I will definitely take all his money. Nearby Lina was also in a miserable state, trembling all over, breathing weakly, trying to blame the bastard, making us move such heavy stuff. That ice block must weigh more than 50 kilograms. Despite being angry, Kung Hu-tin dreamily finished checking and said, Tothan must be about to announce that I am the bride, right? The wealthy guests must be arriving soon. Lina, pale from exhaustion, agreed. Right, the food has gone cold. The guests don't mind. Rich people really are strange. On the other side, Tothan generously handed each driver and delivery staff a red envelope announcing, everyone worked hard today. The remaining payment will be settled according to the contract within a week. The delivery drivers, after receiving the red envelopes, all had bright faces and sparkling eyes, full of surprise. One person, holding a thick envelope, shouted loudly, this envelope is thick. It must be 10,000 NDT. The whole group cheered in unison, faces beaming, boss is the best. Meanwhile, Kung Hu-tin was trembling all over from exhaustion. She crawled near Tothan and asked softly, Tothan, do you have anything important to say to me? Wished her yes. Tothan, with a cold expression, stepped into the warehouse and replied indifferently, ah yes, thank you very much for your help, but there's no reward, so you can leave. Kung Hu-tin was stunned and turned back, saying, stop joking about what's on your mind. Don't joke anymore. Surely you have some surprise. Let me call the guests out. Let's get married quickly. Tothan turned back, half joking. Get married? Well, I want to, but right now I've sold the house and am heavily in debt. Do you still want to follow me? Lina couldn't believe her ears, shouted back, no way. The banquet cost over 10,000, the restaurant tens of thousands. How could you not have money for all this? Tothan placed my hand on the boxes calmly and replied, oh, these things are because a big boss wants to do charity. He wants to eliminate poverty in Alapthian, so I'm just helping. Kung Hu-tin gritted her teeth, face blazing with murderous intent, as she rushed forward to settle the score with Tothan. So the bastard dared to trick me. Seeing Hu-tin go crazy and charge, Tothan nimbly dodged to the side and asked, what did I trick you about? You can't catch me. Tothan, Kung Hu-tin fell to the ground, swallowing her anger, cursing repeatedly. Tothan, you bastard! You're not any rich second generation at all. I don't want to marry you. Tothan cast a contemptuous look at her. Who wants a gold-digging woman like you? Tothan's words hit Hu-tin's pride, making her furious to the point of shaking, giving him a hateful glare. Then Hu-tin and Lina angrily turned and left the warehouse. Hu-tin shouted, you bastard, just wait, I'll make you regret it. Lina pointed and warned, you're doomed, you're definitely doomed. Tothan ignored the two girls, thinking them foolish, waiting for doomsday to see how they'd live then. He went back into the warehouse to finish the last task and avoid being discovered. Tothan carefully locked the warehouse door, approached the neatly arranged supplies and goods. The last supplies were ready now, just waiting for doomsday. Tothan raised his hand to activate his superpower, opening a dimensional rift. Wave after wave of supplies were sucked into his secret space. At night, in a luxurious building in Thungdo, in an opulent room, Vung Dai-hai warmly said to Kung Hu-tin, Tien Tien, from now on follow Tilvu. You'll eat well and dress beautifully here in Thungdo. Just mentioning me, Vung Dai-hai gives you some face. Yes, Vung Hao Vu. Holding Hu-tian's arm tightly, he whispered, Sister Tien, Tothan treated you like that. You should have left him long ago. Being with me is the right choice. Hu-tian shyly replied, then I'm really looking forward to your performance. Vung Haovu confidently said, "Don't worry, Sister Thien. My big brother will take revenge for you." In Hu Tian's heart, she calculated silently, her eyes showing cunning. Vung Haovu also thought his big brother in Thungdo was quite rich. Living with him was better than with that damn Tothun. Just as she was deeply plotting, a voice suddenly rang out from the dining table behind. "This woman really isn't picky, huh?" Kang Hu-tien was startled and turned around in shock when she saw Tothan. "Why is he here?" "Yes, Vung Hao-vu," bloodshot veins bulging on his face. The man pointed at Tothan and shouted loudly, "Big brother is that brat. He laid hands on my brother before." Vung Dai-hai looked fiercely at Tothan. "Brat, I'm about to come find you. Didn't expect you to dare mess with my little brother. You've got some nerve." Vung Hao-vu stood behind and asked Big Brother, do you know him?" Vung Dai-hai replied, "That kid borrowed 600,000 Indi from me before collateralized with his house. Tomorrow is probably the due date." Vung Hao-vu seemed enlightened and laughed heartily. "So that's it. Looks like we can settle both old and new scores." Kang Hu-tien crossed her arms and looked at Totan with contempt. Daring to owe Mr. Hai money he probably won't ever be able to pay it back in his lifetime. "Luckily, I cut ties with him." Lena chimed in. "He dares to borrow money for anything truly reckless." After finishing his meal, Tothane calmly wiped his mouth and said, "Yeah, can't even let people finish their meal." "Yes, Vung Dai-hai," stepping closer to threaten. "Kid Mai, you better have the money to pay me, or what? Still want to drink at the hotel. You're looking down on me. Don't tell me you got 600,000 NDT tonight." Vung Hao-vu and his gang behind started getting aggressive. "Not a chance, big brother. Don't waste words on him. This loser dared lay hands on my brother, beat him to death." Lu Hunyi saw the tension and hurried forward, trying to mediate. "Everyone, what do you want to do? Let's talk it through slowly." Vung Hai grinned and, showing his teeth, pointing at his younger brother. "Talking is fine, but have this brat kneel and bow his head to apologize to me and my brother. Then we'll let it go." Lu Hunyi looked worried and turned to ask Totan, "Mr. To, what's going on here?" Totan reassured her, "It's nothing, just a bunch of thugs." Totan's words made Vung Dai-hai furious. He slammed the table and shouted, "Kid, then I won't go easy on you anymore. Today you're done for. Not even Miss Lu can save you." Suddenly a man stepped in from behind and shouted, "What are you guys doing here?" The angry man and his fierce henchmen approached and kept asking Vung Dai-hai, "Who gave you permission to cause trouble here?" Vung Dai-hai was startled, turning pale. Toten looked up and silently recognized the newcomer as Cao Kung. As soon as Vung saw Cao Kung approaching, he immediately tucked his tail and switched to a friendly smile. "Ha ha, Brother Kung, why are you here?" Cao Kung didn't bother to glance at Vung Dai-hai, coldly threatening. "Today I have important business here. Whoever dares make trouble won't get off easy." Vung Dai-hai's face looked like a dog hiding under the table, thinking to himself that Cao Kung is a famous businessman in Thungdo with many connections and subordinates. He couldn't afford to offend him. Immediately after, Vung Dai-hai hurriedly tried to make peace. "Yes, Brother Kung, you go ahead with your work. I'll come by later to toast you." Tothian recalled his past life after the apocalypse. Cao Kung was a hugely powerful force in Thungdo, commanding a subordinate known as the Hell Chef. Right, I'd heard before that the Six Cities Hotel was the first place to mutate after the apocalypse struck. It seems Cao Kung's ability to become a skull crusher comes from an early mutation of the ancestral rebel that appeared there. If that's the case, sorry Cao Kung, now pay attention to Toten's gaze directed at him. Toten thought to himself, this opportunity is mine now. Cao Kung stared intently at Toten, recognizing his bold spirit and fearless expression, which intrigued him. Interesting kid. After a while, Cao Kung and Ya Lum entered a luxurious room and stood before the powerful CEO seated inside. To achieve his work goals, Cao Kung pushed Ya Lum forward and introduced President Ton. "I've brought Duanya here." Duanya's face was cold as ice. She asked the man in front of her, "May I ask what business you have with me, President Ton?" The man named President Ton took a glass of wine poured by a waiter, then chuckled coldly. "Ha ha. I've heard that Miss Duan is a great beauty. Today I finally get to meet you in person." President Ton, with a lecherous smile, raised the glass toward Nyalum. "Come on, have a drink." The wine glass made Nyalum a bit fearful. She thought to herself that the wine must be drugged and began looking for a subtle way to refuse. Downstairs in Totan's room, he held a glass of red wine, gently swirling it, before slowly savoring it, eyes watching the cityscape outside. In my past life with Kang Hu Tian, we hid in the underground basement to escape the apocalypse in the extreme heat this time. After leaving her behind, she came here on her own. Tu then cast my gaze down to the pool where Vuong Hao Vu and his gang were gathered. His voice was ice cold, as if settling both new and old scores at once. At that moment, the two brothers, Vuong Hao Vu, were playing happily in the pool. Vuong Daihai, with his stocky build, clearly felt the sweltering heat of the evening. He kept wiping sweat from his brow. Grimacing, then asked his younger brother, "Little bro, do you feel like tonight's even hotter than this morning?" "Yes." Vuong Hao Vu, wearing a duck-shaped float, turned and nodded in agreement. "That's right. So I invited you out to the pool to cool off, and the girls could change into their swimsuits too." He grinned slyly and whispered to his big brother, "Hey, thinking about that scene, big bro, aren't you excited?" Upon hearing this, Vuong Daihai immediately squinted and laughed heartily. He threw an arm around his younger brother's shoulder affectionately. "Ha ha! This kid sure knows how to seize the moment." Inside, Lena and Hu Tian had just finished changing into sexy swimsuits, revealing their alluring figures. Lena raised her hand to shield the bright overhead light, feeling a bit uncomfortable, and said, Tian, look, the moon tonight looks like the sun." Hu Tian, also sweating lightly, nodded in agreement. "Yeah, it's way too bright." As the two girls stepped out toward the pool area, Vuong Hao Vu suddenly ran over and grabbed Hu Tian's hand, shouting, Tian, do you see my love for you is as beautiful as tonight's moonlight? This is proof of our love." Kwang Hu Tian was bewildered by Vuong Hao Vu's overly affectionate behavior. Feeling very uncomfortable, she reminded him, "It's so hot, it's unbearable. Hurry, take me to the pool." But upstairs, Tathan sipped his wine with a mocking smile. "Haha, your love is about to go up in smoke, all of you." He raised his glass and lightly tapped it against the glass in front of him, as if to toast a welcome to the apocalypse once again. Outside, the moon suddenly moved closer to Earth, causing a sudden spike in temperature. The heat grew more intense. Vuong Daihai's group by the pool stood stunned, unsure of what was happening. When the heat became unbearable, the whole group panicked and rushed inside, screaming nonstop. Why is the moon suddenly so scorching hot? It hurts so much, my skin's burning." Vuong Hao Vu hurriedly pulled Hu Tian inside, shouting while running, "No time to swim. Run back to the hotel now." Meanwhile, Vuong Daihai, struggling with his stocky body, dragged himself along, panting heavily and yelling, "Wait for me." Inside, his henchmen were gathered playing cards. One of them looked up and was surprised, wondering, "Why is it suddenly so bright outside?" "Big bro, hi, and the others? Do you know what's going on?" Another henchman laughed dismissively and waved his hand. "Just chasing girls. That's the boss's happiness. You wouldn't understand." Just then, the door suddenly burst open. Vuong Hao Vu and two girls rushed inside in panic, as if fleeing from death. Everyone's skin was red and burning. The henchmen, seeing the group run in, asked in confusion, "Hey, why are you running like crazy? Why is everyone's skin turning red like that?" Behind them, one guy, barely paying attention, hurried his friends. "Keep playing, it's your turn." Vuong Hao Vu and the two girls rolled around inside, screaming miserably. Ouch, it's burning, it's scorching, help, it's so hot, I'm dying. Water break, water quickly." Vuong Hao Vu, still holding the duck float, looked toward the pool with a bright expression, like a drowning man spotting a life-saving log. He shouted, "Water, there's water!" Without hesitation, the three, Vuong Hao Vu, Hu Tian, and Lena, rushed toward the pool as if their lives depended on it. After cooling off, Vuong Hao Vu gasped, "I'm alive." The two girls pushed each other, trying to get out first. "This water is mine, move aside." The henchmen looked at each other in confusion and asked, "Hey, what's wrong with you? Where's Big Bro Hai?" Hearing his brother's name, Vuong Hao Vu panicked and shouted, "Right, where's Big Bro?" Just then the door swung open. Vuong Daihai staggered in. His whole body was blistered, covered in sores and emitting thick smoke. He tried to groan for help. "Help, save me." Seeing their brother Vuong Hao Vu and the henchmen rushed over in alarm. "Big bro, are you okay? Quickly get the burn medicine. Where's the ointment? Hurry up." "Hey, little Vu, you left your brother behind and ran." "Big bro, I was wrong. I'll never leave you again." Upstairs in Cao Kuang and Na Lam's room, Ton Tung saw Na Lam stalling and asked, "Hey, aren't the beauties going to drink?" Cao Kuang saw the awkward situation and quickly interjected, Mr. Tan, I've already prepared a banquet. How about— Mr. Tan cut him off with a glance. In Thuongdo, if Mr. Tan pours the wine, who dares not to drink? No one ever shouts out, "This is not your business." Being directly reminded, Xiao Chuang could only turn away and pretend not to hear. Nyalam glanced at Cao Kung, silently cursing. Damn it, just to win over Tonduk Bill. They're pushing me into a corner. Tonduk Bill, with vast power in Thuongdo, had ruined countless women. Nyalam clearly understood that today his target was herself. She looked at the glass of wine before her, wincing. This glass definitely has something wrong with it. I absolutely cannot drink it, but how can I refuse? Suddenly, the light outside flared up fiercely, so intense that it was unbearable to the naked eye. Both Cao Kuang and Mr. Tong shouted in dizziness, "Ah, what's happening?" "My eyes." Cao Kuang immediately ordered, "Quick, pull the curtains." The burning sensation spread throughout the room. Cao Kuang looked stunned, his face full of tension. Mr. Tan said, "Something about this doesn't seem right." Mr. Tan signaled with a serious expression, "Let's go downstairs to see what's going on." That unexpected event saved Nalam from a dangerous situation. She breathed a sigh of relief. In the Luhan 2 lobby, guards blocked the exits, signaling everyone to stop. No one is allowed outside. Everyone stay calm. We have contacted the rescue team. Please wait here. However, as soon as she finished speaking, many people began shouting, "Wait a minute, damn it! I make millions every minute. How can I waste time sitting here waiting?" Exactly. Cao Kuang came downstairs and asked his subordinate, "What's going on, Lao Mu?" Lao Mu, standing nearby, hurriedly explained while taking off his jacket. Just now the moon suddenly shone intensely. The outside temperature rose rapidly. According to initial information, the outdoor temperature might have exceeded 70 degrees. Nearly 100 people have been injured. Yes, Mr. Tan is urgently contacting Minister Trio by phone. We are at the 6 City Hotel. Could someone be sent to pick us up? Yes, I understand. Then Cao Kuang turned and asked, "So, Mr. Tan, what's the update?" Frowning worriedly, he replied, "Right now, the team upstairs is focusing on securing the power supply. We can't send people out. There's not enough manpower. This situation is really troublesome." In the room with Wang Haovu's group, his men were applying ointment to Wang Daihai. He groaned non-stop. It hurts so much. Be gentle." One of the men anxiously said, "Haika, you have to go to the hospital." "Yeah," Wang Haovu panicked. "It's so hot. How can we go outside? How can we get to the hospital now?" Wang Daihai grimaced. She reassured him, "Don't worry, I'll call Xiao Jiao to bring the car." Right after, he signaled his men to contact Xiao Jiao in the parking garage. Xiao Jiao answered the phone. "Hi Ka, I'm in the parking garage." "Hot? It seems like something's happening." Xiao Jiao hurriedly drove out. "Yes, wait for me a moment. I'm coming right away." Just after driving a bit, he looked up at the brightly lit sky, muttering, "Why is the sky so bright?" But before finishing, a loud popping sound rang out. All 4 tires exploded and deflated because they couldn't withstand the heat. The car stalled. Xiao Jiao angrily got out and kicked the tire hard. "Are you kidding me? It's so hot even the tires popped. What kind of crazy weather is this?" Without hesitation, Xiao Jiao immediately turned the car around and fled back to the hotel. While driving, he called Wang Daihai. "Hello, Hai Ka. All 4 tires blew out. I can't make it. I have to turn back. Everyone figure out another way." But as soon as Xiao Jiao stepped into the area directly hit by the moonlight, the soles of his shoes immediately melted and stuck to the ground. Unable to react in time, the young man staggered and fell face first. Xiao Jiao hit the ground with a thud, and before he could even curse, he saw countless bodies scattered beside him. All were burned black in a horrifying state. Utterly terrified, Xiao Jiao blurted out, "Holy shit!" He tried to get up and run, but half of his face was stuck to the burning ground, causing him to scream in unbearable pain. His desperate screams echoed all the way to the group where Wang Daihai was hiding inside, causing everyone to panic. One of the group dropped his phone, trembling. Xiao Jiao's screams gradually faded away until they stopped completely. In the end, only the faint, flat sounds from the phone were heard before the connection was cut off. Meanwhile, in Tooth and Nose room, everything had been carefully prepared in advance. The air conditioner was still set at 16 degrees Celsius. The room temperature was currently stable at 25.5 degrees, completely unaffected by the terrible heat outside. The cool, quiet space allowed to comfortably lean back. He slowly closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep. Hello, Fanny. Give the guys a little spoiler for the next episode. Since Tathan's room was an extremely ideal place to escape the heat, Many people came knocking with hopeful faces. Comrade, we want to, contrary to their expectations of help, then coldly drew his gun, pointed it straight, and replied curtly, most people don't want the government to replace them. Then immediately sent out an emergency alert about the unusual event. The moon suddenly emitted an enormous amount of heat, causing the outdoor temperature to soar to 75 degrees Celsius. The ground in some areas even reached 100 degrees. This phenomenon caused hundreds of casualties. Authorities advised everyone to absolutely not go outside. Stay indoors to avoid the risk of skin burns and respiratory burns. At the city power plant, due to the environmental temperature exceeding safety limits, some ultra-high voltage transformers overheated. The wiring system, unable to handle the heavy load, caused electrical short circuits. Immediately after, an ultra-high voltage station exploded, triggering a chain reaction that plunged many city areas into serious power outages. Wang Daihai's phone suddenly rang with a call notification from Xiaojiao. Beep, 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 beep. The number you called is currently unreachable. Wang Daihai looked at the screen, frowned, and said anxiously, looks like Xiaojiao has disappeared. His close disciple, after checking outside, immediately returned to report. Big brother, all other rooms in the hotel are fully occupied. This is the last room. Now we can only squeeze in together. Hearing this, the two girls, Kwang Xieshen and Li Na, immediately reacted strongly. What kind of joke is this? How can I share a room with men? No, I want a separate room. Suddenly, the lights in the room went out. The whole room plunged into darkness. The stifling heat became even more suffocating, forcing Wang Daihai to curse, damn this damn place. What the hell is going on? Why is the power out? The guys in the room also felt unbearable. They gradually took off their shirts, trying to ease the burning heat. Brother Hai, the temperature in here must be over 40 degrees now. If we keep squeezing like this, sooner or later, we'll die from the heat. Wang Daihai clenched his teeth, turned his head, and ordered, we have to think of a way. Kung Xieshen suddenly spoke up with a bold idea. I remember. Tuthan's presidential suite has a swimming pool. We could go steal it. Meanwhile, inside Tuthan's room, he was leisurely swimming while recalling his previous life. He clearly remembered that the power system in Thuongdo had hidden dangers due to improper maintenance. Even with increased manpower, the city's power grid still exploded in the end. But all residents using electricity managed by the power company experienced blackouts. That's why in this life, Tuthan specially chose a room with a private pool. He prepared a large capacity standby battery air conditioner to ensure continuous power supply. He even prepared a large ice chest to keep the room temperature stable. Tuthan, while enjoying a glass of fine wine, leaned back on the sofa and savored the cool, relaxing space. It seemed after a few laps of swimming, he had burned quite a few calories. His stomach immediately growled loudly, making him laugh in surprise. I'm hungry. Without hesitation, Tuthan opened his interdimensional space and took out numerous delicious dishes. There were Western vegetables, crab flan, steak, fried chicken, steamed buns, and Then Han happily split my chopsticks and smiled with satisfaction. The general on the first day of the apocalypse only needed such a simple breakfast. He ate while smiling quietly. Brothers and sisters, have you ever had such a light breakfast? Ha ha. Tuthan chewed each bite, secretly wondering when Chao Kuang's fate would appear. Truly, even a thunderstorm wouldn't interrupt a meal. But before things could settle down, the door was knocked on hard again. Tuthan sighed for the second time. Outside came the familiar voice calling, open the door, open the door. Tuthan, I know you're in there. Hesitating, Tuthan stepped out and opened the door. A rush of cold air poured out from the room, surprising everyone outside. Yes, Wang Daihai blinked in amazement, stammering, MT, is this really cold air? Tuthan stood right at the door, his voice cold, as he asked, what's going on with you all? Yes, Wang Haovu glanced inside and saw premium food, cool air conditioning, and a clean swimming pool. He immediately lost his temper and shouted loudly, cold ice, big bro, it's really cold ice. This room not only has a pool, but electricity, air conditioning, and high-end food as well. Outside, the group, including Lena, Kwang Hyo-tin, and Wang Haovu, angrily shouted loudly, Tuthan, we're about to die. Why are you enjoying yourself alone in there? You're so selfish. Hurry up and get out of this room yourself. Don't force us to take action. Without hesitation, Wang Daihai pushed the door open and stormed in, growling, Kid, you owe me money. Give me the room as an interest for the past few days. If not, I'll throw you out myself. But as soon as he stepped inside, Tuthan didn't hesitate. His face was icy cold as he immediately drew his gun and fired one shot, giving Wang Daihai a copper bullet directly into his side. Vuong Dai bent down, looking at the spreading blood on his side, his face pale and eyes trembling. Tathan still pointed the gun at the remaining group, his tone cold as he warned, "Take one more step and you're dead." The sudden gunshot made the whole group jump, stunned and unable to believe their eyes. He really had a gun. Yes, Vuong Dai clenched his painful hand over his stomach, stammering, "Tuthen, you actually managed to get a gun. You're good. I admit defeat." Just as he finished speaking and tried to step forward, Bang Tuthan fired again this time, shooting Vuong Dai in the leg. The gunshot echoed loudly, terrifying the group even more, while Vuong Dai screamed in pain. "Ah, my leg!" Tathan casually raised his gun once more, his voice full of killing intent. "Get lost or get lost quickly. Don't waste words. I'll count to 3. Disappear from in front of me. 1, 2. At the same time downstairs in the lobby, Chao Kuang's angry voice rang out. "What, you guys are running a hotel without any food?" The young woman Lu Han too bowed her head, apologizing on behalf of the hotel, explaining, "Sorry, the day before yesterday someone ordered over 1,000 banquet tables. The food was almost all used up. According to the plan, new supplies were supposed to be delivered today." The annoyed Mr. Tone splashed a bottle of water on himself to cool off, gritting his teeth as he ordered, "Then bring all the remaining food and water up here from our army." As soon as he finished, the people around immediately protested angrily. "You took all the bottled water. Now you want all the food too. Damn it, this is like leaving us no way to survive. Having money makes you so great. If you have money, why don't you just leave? Water and food should be shared equally. Why should everything be handed over to you?" Cao Kung's men, hearing these complaints, immediately got angry, their eyes blazing with fiery veins bulging. "What's this? Someone not happy. I'm going to invite him outside now. A bunch of trash think they can compete with me." Suddenly, the elevator door opened, and Vuong Dai group staggered into the main hall, shouting in panic, "Help, Tathan is killing someone!" Cao Kung Kao stepped forward to check. When he saw the bleeding wound on Vuong Dai's side, his expression darkened. "It's a gunshot wound. Not many people can get a gun. Looks like the guy upstairs is very dangerous." Vuong Haovu anxiously supported his big brother. "Big bro, are you okay?" Huang Hiotian also lost her composure and immediately shouted, "Everyone to Than's room has electricity, air conditioning, and even a swimming pool." Her words instantly caused a commotion among the crowd as they surrounded Huang Hiotian, bombarding her with questions. "Are you telling the truth? Don't lie to us, girl." Hiotian said angrily, emphasizing each word. "I saw it with my own eyes. There's ice, lots of food, even fried chicken and wine. It's truly like paradise." After hearing this, the crowd felt like they were set on fire and immediately rushed toward Tathan's room. "Why is he enjoying himself while we're burning up like we're in a furnace? Damn that kid. How did he get ice and air conditioning? We can't let him enjoy it all alone like that." The crowd outside began shouting angrily, "Bring that kid out. Hand over the ice and air conditioning here. Mom, I want fried chicken." Behind, Cao Kuang ordered his men, "Go monitor the situation. You know what to do. I don't need to teach you." The henchman immediately nodded. "Don't worry, Brother Kuang." As soon as the group approached and knocked on Tothan's door, the door quickly opened. Tothan coldly asked what was going on. I felt a chill emanating from inside the room. The people outside immediately murmured in awe, "So cool it feels like every pore is being freed." A young man glanced inside and said, "Tothan, my friend, we're here to negotiate. Don't you see this is a hard time? This hotel only has air conditioning in your room. Can you let us in to cool off a bit? Young people should learn to respect their elders and love the young look at you. I guess you're definitely someone who likes to help others." Just then, a kid standing nearby pushed his head forward and asked where the fried chicken was. Seeing the basket of fried chicken on the dining table, he shouted excitedly, "Fried chicken." His mouth smiled wide like someone who's been starving for days. He immediately dashed inside like an arrow. "Mom, I want fried chicken." As expected, just after stepping inside, the kid was forcefully pushed back out. A red, swollen mark appeared right on his stomach. The boy's mother screamed loudly when she saw her child unconscious. Tothan's son stood right at the door, his cold voice ringing out, "Take good care of your kids. If not, I won't hesitate to take over." Witnessing Tothan's decisive action, the people outside grew angry, their eyes full of resentment. "He's just a kid. How can you treat him like that, murderer? You're a killer." Some angrily charged straight at Tothan, shouting for justice. "People like you don't belong here. Get out of here." He was alone. Everyone rushed forward. Tothan said nothing more and immediately fired the bullet, hitting the forehead of a man who was leading the charge, knocking him down instantly. The two men beside him stared in shock as he fell motionless. The remaining two were so scared they wet their pants, their faces pale as they looked at Tothan, pointing the gun. I'm alone, but each of you only has one life. Inside the Sixth End Hotel, when Vung Halvu saw Vung Dai Hai's body left outside, he shouted in pain, "Big brother, why did you leave my big brother out there?" The men have to do their best to hold on. Vung Halvu stopped himself from rushing out. "Calm down. Hai brother is already dead. His wounds have long since become necrotic. With this heat and no medicine, he couldn't have held on." Vung Halvu's red eyes filled with rage, shouting at Totun. "It's all because of that bastard Totun." Upstairs in front of Totun's presidential suite, Kung Hiu Tin and Li Na kept standing in front of the camera pleading with Thane Ka. "I know you wouldn't really shoot us. You only scared Vung Dai Hai, right? I'm Totun. Haven't you forgotten how much I love you? Just let us in. You can do whatever you want. Brother fall and let us in to cool off a bit. We're willing to spend the night with you." Totane stepped out, opened the door and smiled slightly. What a deep sisterly bond. "Then come in." The two girls' eyes lit up as if they had struck gold. "Really? I knew it. Totun wouldn't abandon me. Brother is truly kind." But before they could finish celebrating, from behind Vung Halvu suddenly charged forward, his face full of killing intent. "Damn it, move aside. I have to kill him." Just as Vung Halvu's arm was about to reach him, Totang calmly closed his eyes and said coldly, "Anyone who steps through this door will die." With that, Tothan raised a baseball bat and swung a fatal blow straight into Vung Halvu's face, sending him flying backward. In a panic, Vung Halvu rolled like a ball, knocking Kung Hiu Tin and Li Na down behind him, all three screaming in pain. Tothan slammed the baseball bat down, his cold eyes radiating murderous intent. "Wives, come on in and join me." Totan's murderous look scared the two girls, their faces scrunching up as they immediately spun around 360 degrees, shouting in unison, "We're not coming in." "Not coming in anymore, got it." Right. It's fine outside too." Tothan fixed his icy gaze on the two girls lying on the ground, coldly warning, "Then get lost." I don't have to say it twice. Kung Hiu Tin and Li Na immediately ran away like ghosts were chasing them, leaving Vung Halvu dragging himself behind, crying miserably. "Sister Thien, wait for me." Totane looked up at the ceiling, where a machine gun with facial recognition camera was installed, thinking, if they don't leave, they'll really die. A moment later, outside the gate of the Sixth End Hotel, a large vehicle appeared. All the tires had been swapped for Caterpillar tracks to withstand the high outside temperature. The people in the hotel saw the rescue team, and everyone was delighted, cheering, Look, is that the rescue team's vehicle? The wheels were replaced with tracks, the windows insulated. It must be the rescue team. Great, we're saved." 3 vehicles stopped in front of the hotel. The rescue team, wearing insulation suits and holding weapons, stepped out. A soldier stepped forward, loudly ordering everyone to step back and clear the way. "Is Academician Lu Tranquok here?" Immediately, Academician Lu stepped out to confirm, "I'm here." The young soldier quickly brought an insulation suit before the academician, explaining, "Academician Lu, we are the rescue team. Please put on the insulation suit quickly and leave here with us." Seeing the rescue team came only to take one person, the crowd immediately became chaotic. Someone shouted, "Wait, aren't you here to rescue us?" Another chimed in, "Exactly, you can't just save him alone." A rescue worker stepped forward to calm everyone. "Calm down, the government is launching a rescue operation. Midnight is the coldest time of the day. Tonight you can go yourself to Silicon Valley Square, the nearest relief point." Hearing this from the rescue worker, everyone cheered happily. "Really? There will officially be aid tomorrow morning. That's great. The government is not completely paralyzed yet." However, old Mr. Tan, standing behind, looked annoyed, rushing forward to claim the supplies. "I am Tun from the Tun Duk Bu Corporation. I'll give you 100 million to bring me the insulation suit. I must leave right now." But Mr. Tan clearly wasn't a match for the well-trained soldiers. A rescue worker immediately subdued him, pinning him down, reminding Academician Lu Tranquok is a geological expert playing a crucial role in this disaster. "Please do not obstruct our actions." Mr. Tan painfully cursed loudly at Chao Kwong. "Cao Kwong, you bastard! What did I raise you for? Get up and fetch the insulation suit for me." But at gunpoint, everyone is equal. Cao Kung's men were stunned and dared not resist ignoring Mr. Tan's words. After picking up Academician Lu, the rescue team quickly withdrew, shouting, "All ready to retreat." As the rescue team left, Kwang Hyutin suddenly stepped forward and grabbed a soldier's arm, her face full of fear. "Hey, soldier, wait a moment." Upstairs, a crazed killer named Lena rushed over, shouting in unison, that's right, that crazy murderer still has a gun in his hand. He almost took us with him just now." The nearby group also accused Tithan at once. "You must seek justice for us. You absolutely cannot let that murderer go." A soldier named Tu Fong took off his helmet and decided to stay. "I will stay. I have limits too. You take the insulated suit and go handle it first. I'll contact everyone afterward." Tu Fong's comrades reminded him, "Tu Fong is in a special condition. Don't act rashly." But Tu Fong had already taken off the insulated suit holding a gun as he advanced upstairs muttering, "Let's see what kind of deity you really are." Kwang Hyutin stood behind wearing a wicked smile. "When Tu Then gets shot, I'll be waiting calmly inside the room for reinforcements." In the hallway leading to To Than's presidential room, the space was as silent as a tomb. Tu Feng hid behind a corner, cautiously observing his surroundings. Suddenly his gaze stopped at a potted plant across from him. A camera. The camera Tu Then placed inside the plant to monitor every move outside. It recorded images of Tu Feng peeking out. Suddenly, Tu Than's room door slowly opened, and an arm reached out, throwing a bomb toward Tu Feng. Witnessing the sudden action, Tu Feng was startled, silently cursing, "Damn it." The bomb rolled close and immediately exploded, but surprisingly it wasn't a detonating bomb. It was a tear gas grenade. Thick smoke billowed at Tu Feng's feet, making him cough violently, grimacing. "Damn, this is tear gas." Coughing eyes stinging, Tu Feng squeezed his eyes shut, thinking the situation was bad, and decided to retreat. While struggling to endure and find a way out, a figure appeared behind Tu Then, swinging a baseball bat and a strong punch. Thud. Tu Feng fell unconscious. Later in Tu Than's room, Tu Feng gradually woke up, struggling to open his eyes, thinking, "My eyes hurt so much. Where am I? It feels really cool." Tu Than stood in front of him, holding Tu Feng's military ID, reading aloud, "Tu Feng, Deputy Leader of the Special Forces. If you're awake, let's talk." Tu Feng felt the cold air around him, looking around curiously, then wondered, "Air conditioning? Who exactly are you? How do you have guns and grenades?" "Dizzy, I'm Tu Thin," he said, putting the gun down. "I'm just a recent graduate student. I bought the gun and other stuff while traveling in the Middle East." Tu Feng didn't believe his ears and asked again, "Are you joking with me?" Tu Than replied slowly, "If you don't believe me, then I give up." He turned to ask, "Did the government set up the rescue point, expecting residents to come there by themselves tomorrow morning?" Tu Feng was shocked and alarmed. "How do you know that?" Tu Than silently recalled, "Seems no different from my past life." He continued, "Although the temperature drops significantly early in the morning, anyone exposed to moonlight for more than 10 minutes will faint, and many will die on the way to the rescue point." Tu Feng lowered his head shyly and replied, "There's no other way. Even though we set up safe zones, modifying rescue vehicles is very difficult. Many people can't endure it anymore, so the only option is to let people come to the rescue point by themselves early tomorrow morning." Tu Than approached and placed a hand on Tu Feng's shoulder, reminding him, "Actually, thick quilts and thick cotton underwear also have insulating effects that increase the survival rate without fainting." Tu Than's words startled Tu Feng, who exclaimed, "Really?" Tu Than pointed the gun at Tu Feng's head and replied, Of course." Tu Than's action frightened Tu Feng, who hurriedly tried to delay. "Wait a moment, brother, wait. Let me tell them about the quilt before you kill me, okay? I'll only use the internal communication system. Don't worry, I'm not calling for backup." Contrary to Tu Feng's thoughts, Tu Than immediately used a dagger to cut the ropes and free him. But this action made Tu Feng dumbfounded, exclaiming, You're—" Tu Than still pointed the gun at Tu Feng, coldly reminding him, "I respect what you're doing, so I'm not killing you this time. But if you dare provoke me again, I won't forgive you." Tu Feng, still confused, asked, "Aren't you afraid I'll call reinforcements to deal with you after I leave?" Tu Than glanced behind, hiding his fear, then looked up to see what it was. "Go!" Tu Feng looked up at the ceiling and immediately panicked, shouting, "A machine gun robot with facial recognition camera. Where did you get it?" Tu Than smiled and repeated, "I told you I got it from the Middle East. Once this thing is activated, no one in the room will survive except me. But in this situation, you probably won't have time to care about me anyway." Xiaofeng hesitantly nodded in agreement. I understand. Then he went downstairs to join the rescue team. Xiaofeng's actions left the people downstairs confused. One person exclaimed, "Did that soldier just leave like that?" only mentioning the blanket and not what happened upstairs. Another person added, "Didn't you see? The soldier's gun was confiscated. Is he that powerful? Even the military has a way to deal with him." Old Tun watched the rescue team leave without being able to do anything, gritting his teeth in anger. Damn it. He turned around and slapped Chao Chang hard in the face. Why did I raise you? Why didn't you act earlier? Ungrateful bastards. While Old Tun was venting his frustration, Old Meow clenched his teeth and turned to ask Big Brother, Chao Chang, how long do we have to endure him? Cao Ching tried to suppress his anger and replied, the government has started rescue efforts. After order is restored, we still need his connections upstairs. At that moment, Tushin suddenly appeared from a corner and spoke, Big Brother Chao, the world has already descended into chaos and you still want to restore order. Old Meow saw Tushin and immediately flew into a rage as if wanting to devour the kid alive. Where did you come from? I'll shut your mouth right now. Cao Chang calmly stopped him. Wait, Tushin, why did you come downstairs? Tushin held a thermos filled with ice and poured it out in front of Cao Chang. And Old Meow, I came to make a deal with Big Brother Chao. The ice cubes rolled out, releasing a cool mist that made Cao Chang and Old Meow feel like bloodthirsty demons in the scorching heat. Old Meow stared at the ice crazily and rushed to grab it. Big Brother's ice room definitely has even better stuff. Kill him, and everything will be ours. Tushin immediately coldly pointed a gun at Old Meow's throat, startling him. He raised his hands and swallowed nervously. Cao Chang looked at the scene and smiled brightly. Ha ha, brother, Tushin, don't be so petty with him. We should still talk about the deal. After negotiating, Cao Chang and Old Meow obtained the thermos of ice. Both immediately soaked in the refreshing coolness, chewing ice and enjoying it deeply. Old Meow, content, mumbled, I've been locked up here for 3 days, and this is the first time I've felt so refreshed. I can't imagine what that kid's room is like. Cao Chang nodded. First agree to his demands, then find a chance to kill him. Then this room will be ours. Old Tun saw Cao Chang hiding the remaining ice and angrily rushed over, stomping and scattering the ice. Well done, Cao Chang, and you still hid the ice. He continued to stomp on Cao Chang threateningly. Next time there's good stuff. If you don't take it out yourself, you're dead for sure. Old Tun's actions ignited Cao Chang's fury fiercely. Old Tun caressed the ice cubes while looking toward Na Lam. Damn, it's been days eating instant noodles, almost out now. Without rescue, we'd starve to death. Oh, isn't that Na Lam? It's so hot, and you still won't take off your clothes, very persistent. Old Tun's animal instincts surged. He grabbed Na Lam's hand tightly and pulled her up. But I like playing with girls like you. Now I'm interested. Follow me. Nha Lam was shocked by the violent act and resisted by slapping him hard in the face. Bastard, don't touch me. Nha Lam's action drove Old Tun crazy. He tore her shirt to reveal her half-covered body. You're so foul, then I'll do you right here so everyone can taste it. Nha Lam gritted her teeth, covering the exposed parts with her hands, her eyes full of hatred staring at Old Tun. He licked his lips lecherously. Ha. Soaking wet like this, you must be hot. Let me help you take it all off. Cao Chang couldn't stand Old Tun's outrageous behavior, stepped forward and coldly warned Tunduk Tu, you've gone too far. Tunduk Tu angrily turned around and cursed, damn it, you dare talk back to me. Cao Chang, I've given you face. Do you know who you're talking to? No. In response, Cao Chang coldly drew a knife and stabbed straight into Tunduk Tu's neck. He collapsed farewell. The people around screamed in horror. He's killed someone. He's killed someone. Cao Chang dropped the knife and declared, Tushin is right, this is chaos now. Tunduk Tio Godi. Now this place is mine. Everyone else either scram or die here. From the upper floor, Totan observed Nha Lam, and the group Cao Kung propped his chin coldly and said, seems like my plan is working. In his past life, he was the big boss here. If I speed up this process, he looked down at the bodies of Vung Dai Hai and Tunduk Tu thrown outside, wondering if his fate would also come sooner. In Cao Kung's room, he leisurely enjoyed buckets of ice-cold water. At his feet, Kung Hiu Tin and Li Na kneeled repeatedly, showing craving expressions. Brother Kung, give me some. I want it. Whatever you want us to do, we'll do it. Cao Kung gulped down the ice water and threw the water bottle at the two girls. If you want ice water, follow me. When I order, you obey. Lao Miu, standing behind, asked Brother Kung, aren't we going to the rescue point? Cao Kung leaned back in his chair and explained, it's already the apocalypse. To survive, you have to rely on yourself. Besides, the rescue point is 1 kilometer away and survival isn't guaranteed. When they got there and received cold water from Chao Kung Kung Hyo, Tien and Li, Na fiercely fought over it. Don't fight me. Leave some for me. Lao Miu watched the two girls' antics and asked again, but our supplies aren't much left. Why do we still have to take in these useless people? Cao Kung replied, didn't Tothan want to keep these people? Conveniently, we also need a few sacrificial pawns. As night fell, everyone at the Six Cities Hotel, following Tu Fong's orders, wrapped themselves in thick quilts to prepare to move to the rescue point. Among them were Kung Hu Tien and Li Na, who happily thought to themselves, finally leaving this damn place. For 2 days only given a little light food on the way to the rescue point, I must eat meat and drink Coke. But suddenly, Lao Miu appeared and snatched the quilt off Kung Hu Tien. The girl startled and shouted, what are you doing? Lao Miu bared his teeth with a cold smile. Doing what? Brother Kung already gave you water. Now you want to leave. That's not going to happen. He cruelly ripped Kung Hu Tien's dress, causing her to panic. Lao Miu threatened, didn't you say you'd do whatever I tell you? Then serve me first. But outside the Six Cities Hotel, the group began to move. A young man enduring the burning heat gritted his teeth and cursed, damn it, since Cao Kung took control, he hasn't given us any water or food. Waiting at the hotel means dying of thirst. Going to the rescue point still offers a chance to survive. But the heat outside is beyond imagination. Even though his shoes had wooden soles, the ground's temperature still burned him. An old lady walking ahead suddenly tripped on a stone, fell face first, and screamed in pain. Her body melted as soon as it touched the scorching ground. Her desperate cries for help echoed, help me. But no one paid attention and just kept walking, leaving the old lady in despair. One by one, unable to bear the scorching heat, people collapsed, writhed, screamed, then stopped breathing with their unfinished lives. In this situation, no one even knows if they will survive, let alone have time to care for others, even family. In the apocalypse, save yourself first, then worry about the rest. In front of the Six Cities Hotel, the bodies of Vung Dai-hai and Ton Dik Teo gradually mutated under the sun's terrifying heat. Their whole bodies glowed red as if molten lava coursed inside. Suddenly, both awakened, their eyes bloodshot and terrifying. From upstairs, Totin watched the group leave and silently recalled, in my past life, I was like them trying to reach the rescue point. No one told me to bring a quilt. Just 1 short kilometer, but it took countless lives. Not down there. Kung Hu Tien shouted, trying to delay Lao Miu. Big brother, wait a bit, wait a bit. Lao Miu growled, rotten brat. What now? Kung Hu Tien and Li Na showed clear fear on their faces, hurriedly trying to postpone Big Brother. Or should we go to the room and play, don't stay here? Right, we cooperate, whatever you want. Lao Miu looked at the two girls and burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, you two sluts. Don't you even feel ashamed? What are you afraid of here? But suddenly, Vung Dai-hai and Ton Dik Teo mutated, bursting through the door with their bodies blazing red, their eyes bloodshot and terrifying, growling continuously. The Cao Kung group was stunned and shouted, they're zombies, zombies. Vung Halvu stood behind Cao Kung, trembling with worry that if bitten he would turn into a zombie. But unexpectedly, Cao Kung turned and grabbed Vung Halvu by the collar, growling, you go test it and find out. He threw Vung Halvu toward Ton Dik Teo to block him. Vung Halvu screamed in pain, too hot, too hot. Lao Miu anxiously turned to Cao Kung. Brother Kung, are you okay? Cao Kung's whole body seemed to be on fire. He pulled back his hand and commented that the temperature on that guy's body was extremely high. Suddenly, Totan stepped down holding a sword he had prepared earlier, reminding the Cao Kung group to move aside. Lao Miu looked confused at Totan. Is this guy planning to fight the zombies? Totan and Cao Kung exchanged sinister glances and cold smiles. Then let him kill all the zombies first and we'll kill him afterward. Totan, holding his sword, looked toward Ton Dik Teo and Vung Dai-hai, silently recalling that in the apocalypse, sunlight caused mutations in humans, but these were not zombies and did not spread viruses. They resembled the Han bat described in the Shanhai Jing, so he called them Han Bak. Totan observed the two Han Baks slowly advancing. Suddenly, Ton Dik Teo did not aim at Totan, but instead headed toward Cao Kung. Totan thought to himself that these Han Baks still retained some memories from their past lives, or, more accurately, the attachments from their previous existence. Cao Kung must have killed Ton Dik Teo, causing him to harbor a grudge and seek revenge as a Han Bak. Totan glanced at the Han Ba Ton Dik Teo, then turned to the Han Ba Vung Dai-hai, rushing toward him. This one held a grudge against him because he had been killed by Totan. When Vung Dai-hai charged, Totan swiftly dodged to the side, preparing to act. Cao Kung's chance was here. Toten swung his sword hard, cutting down through the middle of Tonduktu's head. A core crystal shot out from the Hanbak's body with a sharp sound. Toten lunged forward and grabbed the core crystal, thinking silently that this core crystal could grant superhuman strength. Now it belonged to him. Behind the Hanbak, Vungdai Hai roared in fury and charged at Toten with blinding speed. Toten jumped back and pushed Vungdai Hai toward the Kalkun group, saying, "You guys take care of this last one." He slowly walked back to the room, waving goodbye. "Take your time and have fun." Kalkun gritted his teeth and cursed, "Damn it." Vung Halvu, after the painful moment earlier, was in a dazed, half-conscious state when Kalkun grabbed him by the collar and pulled him up. "Get up, you useless piece. I'll take care of him." He threw Vung Halvu towards the Hanbak Vungdai Hai. "Brothers, have a warm reunion." Vung Halvu screamed, sinking into the warmth of being with his brother. Toten and Kalkun angrily grabbed an ice water bottle and threw it hard at the Hanbak. "Damn it, kill him with the headshot." Upstairs, Toten tossed the core crystal into a cup, poured strong liquor over it, silently thinking that in the apocalypse core, crystals occasionally appeared inside the skulls of Hanbak. In mutated beasts very rare out of 100, there might not even be one. Toten held the cup, washed the core crystal clean, then swallowed it straight down. Kalkun's luck was officially seized by me. He gulped down the cup of liquor containing the core crystal. Tothan's eyes immediately turned bloodshot, veins bulging. His body grew in size, his clothes tore apart, flames and lava erupted inside him, causing Tothan to scream in pain before gradually losing consciousness and collapsing naked onto the floor, slipping into unconsciousness. Downstairs, after the Chalkung group dealt with the Hanbak Vungdai Hai Vung Halvu, also lay unconscious nearby. Kalkung was furious after using so much water to deal with the zombie. He kicked Vungdai Hai's body repeatedly, cursing, "Damn it, move again, I dare you." Lao Miu and his followers looked regretfully at the puddle of water they had just used. "This is our last bit of water. Now it's all gone." Lina took the opportunity to quietly try to escape, but Lao Miu grabbed her hand, stopping her. "You rotten girl trying to run away? Do you want Lao Tu to chop off your eyebrows?" Lina grimaced in pain and shouted, "Brother Miu, without water, we'll all die of thirst. I have a way to deal with Tothan. Let me go to the rescue point." Lao Miu angrily shook her hard and asked, "Speak quickly. If you dare joke, you're dead for sure." Lina, at her wit's end, and seeing this as a chance to survive, immediately revealed that Kung Hu Tien was Totun's fiancé. "If you humiliate her in front of Tothan's door, he will definitely open it. Then you can take the opportunity to ambush him." Lao Miu listened to Lina's tip, turned to look at Kung Hu Tien, and laughed heartily. "So there's this too. That's a good idea." Kung Hu Tien was stunned, betrayed by Lina, unable to believe her eyes left speechless. Aunt Lina touched her growling stomach, gritting her teeth, looking at Chao Kung's group, and reminded, "I can cooperate with you guys, but I'm hungry now. You have to feed me first." "I want to eat meat." Old Mew looked confused and turned around. Eat meat? There's no electricity? The meat in the fridge is all spoiled." "Damn it, old two still wants to eat meat." Seeing Kalkung Kung Hiotin demanded meat, approached with a stern face and asked again, "You want to eat meat?" He held a knife up in front of Kung Hiotin, glanced at Li Na, and coldly said, "Then do it yourself." Kung Hiotin's face went pale with fear, looked at Li Na, and asked, "You mean the meat on her body?" Facing a choice between friendship and survival, Kung Hiotin did not hesitate to choose survival. She suddenly turned to Lina. Her cold glare made Lina sweat profusely and tremble. Kung Hiotin looked at the knife in Cao Kung's hand, hesitated briefly, then lunged forward to snatch it. She stepped toward Li Na, who was held down by two henchmen, her face cold and merciless. The cruelty of a best friend made Li Na scream in panic. "What do you want to do?" "What on earth do you mean, Kung Hiotin? We are sisters. You can't do this." Kung Hiotin stepped closer. Her bloodthirsty, cold face reminded her, "Don't deceive yourself anymore. We're not sisters. Besides, you just wanted them to humiliate me." After saying that, Kung Hiotin swung the knife, holding Li Na's head with one hand, and stabbed more than 10 times into her best friend's stomach with the other. She gritted her teeth, "So don't blame me. If you want to blame yourself." Even Cao Kung's gang used to killing in the underworld were stunned by the cold-blooded sibling slaughter. After dealing with Lina, Kung Hiotin looked at her best friend's body, collapsed on the ground, and laughed madly. "Ha ha ha." She raised her face and shouted, "Tothan, wait for me to eat my fill. I will drain your blood dry." Cao Kung calmed down and turned to old Mew, reminding him, "Go deal with Duan Ya, roast her meat well, so the brothers have strength to face Tothun. Old Mew looked worried and hesitant, but Cao Kong didn't look at him and softly continued. Without water, we won't last a day. If you don't want to turn into a zombie, do as I say. Old Mew, though, annoyed, gritted his teeth and ordered his men, Where's Duanya? Find her. In the president's room, Tothun woke up. After absorbing the core essence, his body was full of new power. His movement speed skyrocketed. In an instant, he had glided across the entire room, his whole body filled with a strange sensation. Tothun stood up and commented, This is the physique, a type of superpower. Why does it feel like my power has increased already? He stepped closer and lightly swung his hand to shatter the ice block in the room. His muscle strength also became much stronger. Suddenly, a knock on the door sounded. Tothun silently turned back. Oh, someone's here again. Outside, Duanya pressed the doorbell, stood shyly thinking, Cao Kung and those guys have all gone crazy. We can't stay downstairs anymore. This place is the only hope left. Luckily, I still have my trump card. The door opened. Tothun, wearing only a piece of cloth, stepped out and coldly asked, Duanya, what's the matter? Duanya looked up, caught Tothun's icy gaze, then accidentally glanced down at the dark area below. She blushed and shouted, Hey, pervert! Tothun was startled, realizing he wasn't dressed, hurriedly apologized. Sorry, I didn't mean to. After a while, they both returned to normal. Though still a bit embarrassed after putting on his pants, Tothun sat on the sofa, cleared his throat, and said, My resources are limited. We've only met once. It's not because you're beautiful that I have to support you. In his mind, he thought, based on his past life, Duanya was a strong woman. She had cooperated with Cao Kong before. Although he had considered recruiting her, the atmosphere now was a bit awkward. Duanya didn't dare look directly at Tothun, avoided his gaze, and explained to the side. Besides being a chef, I'm also an outstanding graduate of Southwest Medical University. I hold a medical license and have 3 years of experience as a surgical doctor. She thought to herself, that body is so beautiful. No, this room is even better. There's electricity and ice. I have to prove my worth to stay. Tothun regained his cold look and looked at Duanya. You're a doctor, huh? That's an attractive qualification. But supplies are scarce now. I don't know if we'll survive till tomorrow. Duanya feared rejection and panicked. As long as you don't kick me downstairs, I can do anything. The moment she finished, Tothun stroked his chin and smiled slyly. If the beauty has spoken, then consider this your home. Duanya was startled, covered her mouth, and thought, Oh no, I said everything so hastily. Although Tothun smiled outwardly, he immediately returned to a cold expression and warned, But I must say beforehand in front of me, you have only one choice, behave well, and don't have any schemes or else. Duanya shyly looked down at the floor and timidly answered, I understand. I never doubted your tactics and determination. Tothun smiled and reminded, Very good. Now take off your clothes. As soon as the words ended, Dona panicked, eyes wide and stammering, Start right now. Immediately after receiving the order from Tothun, Lam quickly entered the bathroom to start washing and drying the table. In the misty space, she stood under the cool water from the shower, silently thinking, With water, electricity, food, and a bathroom, I really don't have to worry about the heat, don't have to fear being assaulted, or worry about that AI eating me. Lam quietly let the water fall, feeling both joyful and anxious about those struggling outside. This place is nothing short of paradise and oasis in a chaotic desert. But deep inside, she sensed Tothun carried something not entirely upright, like a perfect painting, hiding some shady strokes. While bathing, Lam let her mind wander with endless thoughts. Suddenly, her imagination drifted to images meant only for those over 18. She pictured herself kneeling at Tothun's feet, looking up as he lifted her chin with a meaningful smile and said, Now I will let you enjoy a special dish. Blushing deeply, breathing heavily, and half-covered, Lam stared at Tothun, feeling as if lost in a dream. Then her mind painted even bolder scenes. She imagined Tothun secretly filming her shower, though his real purpose remained a mystery. Lam shook her head, trying to reassure herself. Forget it. After all, I accepted this when I came here. But her imagination wouldn't let go. She pictured Tothun standing outside the door, flashing a sly smile and explaining, I'm not here to spy on you showering. I'm just here to stop you from doing bad things. After finishing washing and drying the table, Lam cautiously stepped out to play the role of Mr. To from the Thon family. When she introduced her medical experience, Tothun immediately prepared a nurse outfit for her because His little guy was weak and needed care. Nyalam put on the tight outfit that highlighted every perfect curve like a sculpture. With a shy expression, she tried to cover the half-exposed parts with her hands and bashfully asked Tathan, "Isn't this outfit too small?" Tathan stared at her without looking away, then rubbed his chin smugly and replied, "Not small, definitely not small at all. Simply put, it's perfect." Nalam turned around in confusion, unintentionally accentuating her round butt. She looked down at the outfit and mumbled, "Really?" Just as the atmosphere was heating up, an unexpected incident struck like thunder on a clear day. Jang Hyo-keet, the uninvited troublemaker, banged on the door loudly, shouting, "Help, save me." Tathan opened the door. Tathan just opened the door. Jang Hyo-keet kept crying for help. "Save me, I'm outside out here." Kao Kung saw, Toothan not reacting, and immediately grabbed Jang Hyo-keet's head, baring his teeth to threaten, "Then, if you don't come out, I'll break the door down myself." Tathan looked regretful that the fun was just starting, clicked his tongue. "Here we go again." He was about to stand and open the door when Nalam stopped him in panic. "Don't open the door. We can't open it now. Those outside already directly killed and ate Lina." Before Nalam finished, Toothan understood the situation, turned back coldly, and asked, "You mean they ate people?" Memories from a past life flashed into Than's mind. Without hesitation, he opened the door and calmly warned Cao Kuang's group, "Don't think about breaking the door. If you do, you'll really get into big trouble." Meanwhile, Jang Hyo-keet, Cao Kuang Lao Mu, and their gang were acting out the drama of a naive little sister being assaulted. Jang Hyo-keet stuck out her tongue, begging, "To then save me." Finally, Toothan appeared. Cao Kuang and his gang, their eyes bloodshot and veins bulging in a frenzied state, bared their teeth proudly. "So you finally show your face, ha ha ha." Tathan stood by the door, cold as ice, looking outside. Cao Kuang arranged for a henchman to hide nearby, with a knife, planning to suddenly kill Toothan as per the plan. When Toothan spoke, the henchman swung the knife, shouting, "Die." But what they didn't expect was that Toothan had trained in Vietnam under the guidance of Master Huyen Tuan Kiet from the Truyen Dien sect, mastering the essence of martial arts. He had prepared in advance, observing the cameras and fully understanding the situation. With lightning-fast reflexes, Tathan grabbed the knife handle and with a few basic moves broke the wrist of the henchman, leaving Cao Kuang and his gang stunned. Jang Hyo-keet continued playing the role of a struggling victim, escaping from Cao Kuang's group, shouting loudly, "Let me go." She rushed toward Toothan for help. "Toothan, save me." But contrary to her hopes, Toothan showed no mercy. He coldly strangled Jang Hyo-keet, making her gasp for breath. Looking at her distorted face, Toothan remarked, "Once you officially start eating human flesh, your body gradually changes and fangs grow inside your mouth. Now you are no longer human." Cao Kung's gang, behind their fierce faces, bared their teeth and growled, "Now the world has become an apocalypse. As long as we can survive, so what if we eat human flesh?" Jang Hyo-keet's face became more and more deformed, fangs clearly growing, tongue sticking out, long eyes blazing red. She grinned maliciously, "Ha ha, human flesh tastes so good. After eating it, I feel full of vitality. So I, too, then am eager to taste your meat, so die now." Jang Hyo-keet swung her arms to attack Toothan, but life isn't a dream. A precise kick to Toothan's face sent her flying backward like a ball. The kick was so strong she was thrown out the window, but thanks to her mutated body, she quickly grabbed the wall and avoided a tragic death. Gritting her teeth with veins bulging, Jang Hyo-keet roared, "Toothan, I definitely won't let you live so easily." But as her body hovered exposed to sunlight, she suddenly convulsed in pain. It's too hot, Inside, after handling Jang Hyo-keet, Cao Kuang charged up to fight Toothan, to the death, shouting, "Brothers, charge, don't give him a chance to draw his gun." Toothan calmly snorted, "Do I have to waste bullets dealing with the likes of you?" One of Cao Kuang's henchmen leapt up and threatened with an eagle claw strike, "Boy, don't underestimate us." But Toothan coldly replied, "But didn't I say I love wasting things?" As soon as he finished speaking, Toothan pulled out his gun and shot the eagle straight in the forehead, dropping him instantly. Cao Kuang's gang Lao Mu and their men panicked and scattered in all directions. Lao Mu crawled off the ceiling, laughing loudly. "Ha ha, not only our strength, but also our reaction and speed have become much stronger now." He threw a punch downward. "If we're prepared, you won't be able to defeat us. Go die." But before he could hit the ground, Toothan used the skill Transcendent Blink to suddenly appear above Lao Mu's head, coldly saying, "You think this is it?" He pressed Lao Mio's head down to the floor, causing his face to smash into the ground with a thud. Tathan roared, "Go to hell." Another henchman swung a knife at Tothan's neck, but was grabbed by the hand and disarmed. Tathan then dealt with two others with a few clean slashes. Cao Kung, witnessing his men fall one by one, flared up in anger and charged like a wild beast. But before reaching Tathan, he was grabbed by the collar and slammed hard against the wall by Tathan, causing Cao Kung to gradually lose consciousness. At that moment, Zhang Hyuqi, now fully mutated, reappeared with her whole body flowing lava and a long tail rushing into the room like a monster. Tathan looked at her coldly. "Zhang Hyuqi, you transformed into this state so quickly. It seems my own obsession is quite deep because my eyes and soul are still lingering." As soon as he finished speaking, Than broke Cao Kuang's neck and dropped his body to the floor, his whole body radiating killing intent. He looked toward Zhang Hyuqi. "Then I'll kill you directly again." Zhang Hyuqi's hair stood on end, her eyes filled with hatred and sickness, screaming, "My dinner." Nyalam peeked out from the room, eyes wide with surprise at Tuthan, silently admiring. Tuthan is really strong, single-handedly taking down Cao Kuang's entire gang. But seeing Zhang Hyuqi in her disgusting monster form, she couldn't help but worry, thinking, but the monster in front of Tothan gives off an extremely dangerous feeling. Wearing a sexy nurse outfit, Nyalam stood hiding behind the door, her heart heavy with anxiety mixed with longing. She secretly wished to stay with Tuthan as long as possible, like a baby bird seeking shelter in a storm. By now, Tuthan's appetite has become much more disciplined. "Hasn't it, brothers?" Nyalam quietly thought, "I really have to figure out a way. If I want to stay with Tuthan, I can't be a burden to him." Suddenly, Nyalam's eyes flashed as she spotted an interesting item in the room. It was as if it was calling out to her. After stepping in to grab the weapon and prepare herself, Nyalam went outside and called out to Tothan. At this moment, Tothan was ready to confront the monster Zhang Hyuqi, but the call made him turn around in surprise. It was Nyalam in a nurse's outfit, tight where it needed to be covered, revealing where it needed to be, holding the whip that Tothan had prepared earlier. For an emotional healing night, she seriously reminded, "Let me remind you all, make sure no one witnessing this scene keeps their hand off the little guy, okay?" With a half-covered, half-exposed look, holding the ROI whip, Nyalam firmly stepped forward and said to Tothan, "Let me help you deal with it." Though Tothan was trying to suppress the rising excitement in his body, he still turned back coldly. "Help me. Not scared enough to run away, NDT0, but you're just making me lose focus." Nyalam was stunned, looking at her body from head to toe. Holding the ROI whip, she asked blankly, "How could that happen?" But except for Nyalam, Tothan and all the men watching fully understood why he lost focus, like a vivid painting that people couldn't look away from. On the other side, the monster Zhang Hyuqi seemed to still cling to some human memories. Seeing Tothan and Nyalam glance at each other, jealousy ignited its rage. Zhang Hyuqi bared its teeth and stuck out its tongue, breathing heavily, its bloodshot eyes letting out a savage roar. After each scream, it lunged straight at Tothan, its face twisted horribly like a living nightmare. Tothan, distracted by the scene before him, suddenly heard Zhang Hyuqi's roar, turned around, but couldn't dodge a powerful blow from the monster that struck his chest. Tothan and Nyalam, hiding behind the door, witnessing this, gasped in alarm. Tothan. But contrary to her worries, Tothan's body wasn't hurt at all, not even a scratch. Thanks to the sudden strike, the killing intent inside Tothan exploded, activating his berserker superpower. The monster Zhang Hyuqi, seeing Tothan still intact, immediately jumped up, wrapped around his back, baring teeth and drool, aiming to bite his shoulder. But Tothan's body was as hard as diamond. The monster's teeth only made a dry clanking sound, as if biting steel. It tried biting several more times, but all in vain. Tothan coldly looked down, his gaze sharp as a blade. "Oh, you can't bite. I wonder if all those fangs in your mouth are just for decoration." Power surged through Tothan's body as he finished speaking. "It's time to stop." As soon as he spoke, Tothan grabbed both of Zhang Hyuqi's hands, his movements so fast people thought he was reminiscing old memories. He jumped backward, landed on the monster's back, twisted its arms behind, completely controlling it with his literally burning body. Zhang Hyuqi was stunned, eyes wide open. Tothan, like a war god, stepping on its head, coldly asked, "Are you ready?" Not giving the monster time to react. Tothan executed the bone-pulling technique, tearing off both its arms, then stomped hard, sending Zhang Hyuqi flying into the ceiling, delivering a fatal blow. Blood gushed from its nose, its body trembled. The monster howled in pain while Tothon gently landed, still holding its two arms tightly, throwing them back at it like tossing a toy. He calmly and coldly said, I really wanted you to suffer the ultimate torment more during the apocalypse and gnaw on the feeling of dying slowly from torture. But given the situation, I have to kill you first now. Thinking the monster had fallen, suddenly Jang Hyu-keet crawled toward the corpses of the strong men, wrapping its tail tightly, preparing to devour them to upgrade its body. It tilted its head back, opened its mouth, revealing terrifying teeth, swallowing each corpse. After digesting, its two arms grew back. Jang Hyu-keet screamed joyfully, its body evolving into a more ferocious form, veins bulging all over its face. It growled at Tothan with a hateful gaze. But Tothan was slightly surprised, thinking, your severed arms have grown back now. Nyalam, witnessing the horrific scene, stammered in fear, no, it can't be like that. But contrary to her worries, Tothan smirked excitedly. Very good. The ability to regenerate means you won't die so easily. He raised his head, eyes full of killing intent radiating from his back. This also means I can tear you into 1,000 pieces. While the monster was still posing, Tothan rushed forward at the speed of sound, placing his hand on its shoulder to control its body. Jang Hyu-keet panicked. Tothan stood beside, gently holding its hand, and said, let me see how many more times you can regenerate your body. He pinned the monster down coldly. Let's start with your left hand. A fierce yank tore off the left arm, making the monster scream in pain. Tothan moved to the right shoulder gently. Next, we'll move to the right hand. Without hesitation, Tothan ripped off the right arm, continuing the brutal torture. Next will be your tail and legs. Each part of the monster flew into the air with every swing from Tothan. He calmly and gently pressed its head down with his foot. This is just your first time. Each time the monster's body regenerated, it showed more weariness. When the limbs and tail regrew, Jang Hyu-keet lay panting. Tothan smiled kindly. You're ready to let me move on to round 2. Right now, let's begin. Tothan continued the joint dislocation surgery. The deadly smile left Nyalam stunned. After round 2, the monster couldn't bear it and crawled, trying to escape, its eyes fearful as it looked at Tothan. But every time the limbs and tail regrew, Tothan announced, round 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tothan tortured while emphasizing, turns out it's not just the limbs, but also the eyes, nose, and tongue. Next, the 16th time, internal organs can regrow too. It seems, except for your head, all parts can regenerate as before. Isn't 21 times enough for you? Tothan paused coldly, looking down at Jang Hyu-keet, who had lost all ferocity, only 2 tears falling. She exclaimed, Anthan, now I know how to say it. I beg you to spare me. Tothan coldly replied, I originally intended to gouge your eyes out, but I suddenly forgot something. I'm not a demon. Jang Hyu-keet whimpered, why are you doing this to me? I haven't done anything wrong. Why are you treating me like this? But Tothan recalled what Jang Hyu-keet and her underling Vung Halvu did to him in the previous life, raised his foot, aiming straight at the monster's face. Of course, this was for revenge. A heavy kick flattened Jang Hyu-keet's face. Nyalam stood behind, eyes full of fear and worry, asking Tothan, are you still okay? Tothan did not answer, only turned back with blazing red eyes. Are you ready? Nyalam was startled and confused. Ready for what? Tothan stepped closer, stroking her cheek with one hand, the other sliding beneath in an intimate gesture. You showed great courage just now. Aren't you going to reward me? Nyalam tried to resist, but only weakly, her face flushed as she shyly anticipated the reward here. Scene shifts to the rescue team area. A member looking around, sensing cooler air, silently wondering if this is a sign the apocalypse is ending. Lo Tu-feng appeared behind, hesitating. Captain, there are many people over there. Looks like they're moving closer to our area. The captain, platinum-haired woman with sharp eyes and a hot figure, squinted as she observed the approaching group, recognizing something unusual, hesitated. Those people, that crowd, is the mutant zombies moving from Hotel 6 to the rescue point, staggering and howling terrifyingly. Among them, a mutant that looks like Jang Hyu-keet was kicked 10 meters by Tothan, dazed. The captain broke out in a sweat, shocked, zombies. The fierce zombies charged. She immediately shouted, evacuate the people at the rescue point, immediately. I will directly stop these zombies. Lo Tu-feng was flustered and worried, that's all. But the captain fired continuously, commanding, this is an order. Lo Tu-feng reluctantly complied. The captain shot while cursing, Lo Tu-feng, shut your rotten mouth, get out of here now. I returned to the main scene after taking down the strong enemies in Jang Hyu-keet. Tothan and Nyalam entered the bedroom, his whole body glowing, slicking back his hair. cold eyes staring at Nyalam. Next, I want you to directly experience the unlimited power of BSRC. You're a BSA nicknamed the warriors who terrify enemies with savage, beast-like fury. For Nyalam Toten's dinner, she definitely had to endure countless poses, like the old man planting radishes, the old farmer pushing the ox cart, or carrying the plow over the mountain. Nyalam looked at Totan with a crazed, lustful expression, panicked, clutching the blanket tightly, shouting, "What now again? How many times has it been this time?" Totan, like a beast full of animal instinct, pounced on Nyalam, his eyes full of desire, Aitithan, with icy cold eyes warning his prey. "Haha, the severe heat disaster has passed. Of course I have to go outside, but before that, I have to leave you with some unforgettable memories." Nyalam, turning her back to the enemy, highly alert like a wild cat ready to pounce. But in this situation, her caution seemed insignificant. Hearing Totan say that, she hesitated and asked, "Can't you take me with you?" Totan disliked his dinner asking questions. He immediately crushed Nyalam's hopes like a sewing machine running at full speed, his eyes flashing with a fierce light, like a demon revealing himself coldly, declaring, "Those who want to stay by my side must meet two conditions. First, they must be valuable to me. Second, they must absolutely obey my orders." Nyalam, in a daze, pressed her hands firmly on the edge of the bed, her eyes narrowing with each stitch of Totan's sewing machine pace, breathing meekly. "I understand." A few hours later, around midnight, when the god of strength, Totan had shot down his prey, Nyalam, with the fiercest bursts, he paused. The torture checked the weather outside and saw the air had cooled. Totan prepared to execute his plan, raising his hand to open the dimensional rift, muttering, "Looks like Nyalam has completely surrendered to Maz." He pulled out an off-road vehicle and urgently said, "I must seize the current time and quickly return before the sea floods the land." Ethan recalled my past life when many demons carried the obsession of rescue points that created waves of zombie attacks. The incident caused countless civilians and soldiers to die and scattered weapons, creating small and large armed forces. Passing through an area, Totan witnessed gangs fiercely exchanging gunfire. One guy fired while smiling slyly, thinking he would reach the target area smoothly, but suddenly a few mosquitoes aimed guns at Totan's vehicle's nose, their fierce faces as if urging him to die early, shouting, "The vehicle in front, stop right now." Totan sat inside the car, his face expressionless like cold stone, replying coldly, "Am I sick that you dare stop the car to kidnap someone at this time?" Without another word, he stomped the accelerator, making the car speed forward. The gangsters were stunned, their faces pale and sweating heavily. The man in front froze on the spot, and two henchmen panicked and ran for their lives. Totan's car ran over them before they could react, instantly killing them. After taking down the gangsters who were reckless, Totan left them sleeping on the spot and continued his journey to the target area. Approaching the subway station, he recalled that in his past life, this place collapsed due to cracks in zombie waves' destruction. Standing high and looking down, Totan muttered, "The death toll underground must be tens of thousands." The zombies below were immediately attracted by the engine noise and gathered. Totan observed their glowing red eyes, thinking the zombies were surely drawn here by the engine noise. He clicked his tongue regretfully. Unfortunately, not all the demons have nodules in their heads. Opening each skull would really waste time. Totan drove to the old university area where the atmosphere was as quiet as a graveyard, muttering, "First I should check out the situation here." Then I remembered this was my first time returning to the technical university after graduation. Stopping in front of the building, Totan parked the car, stored it in the dimensional rift, and quickly went inside. Just as he stopped at the door, he faced a demon chained by the neck, its red eyes growling heavily. As he was about to step forward, a voice behind him called out to stop. The chained demon was a long-haired gangster with two muscular henchmen. This guy sat cross-legged, arrogantly warning the young man, "You must show respect when stepping into our territory, and the first thing is you must hand over your backpack to me." Totan played the weak role, reaching into the backpack, pretending to tremble, but actually pulling out a piece of fried chicken leg from the dimensional rift. "Can you help me? Please spare me. I have fried chicken here." In the apocalypse era, when food and water were scarce, the three gangsters stared at the chicken leg with shining eyes in amazement. The leader gaped, "Chicken leg? When did you still really have a chicken leg? Quickly throw it here. Throw the chicken leg here. Hurry up." Seeing the gangsters hungry too, then smirked and threw the chicken leg down in front of them and the two demons. They all rushed to grab it like wild beasts, forgetting who was the boss and who were the subordinates. Elbowing and choking with fake affection, "This is mine, get out of the way." When the long-haired guy was about to catch Tuthan, he yanked the string tied around the chicken leg back. The gangsters fell silent, their faces like clowns who had been pranked. Tuthan shook the chicken leg mockingly. "Really sorry, but you guys truly don't deserve to eat this chicken leg." Insulted, the gangsters went crazy, screaming, "How dare you cheat us, you coward! Kill the bastard!" One swung a stick like Sun Wukong, another growled like a gorilla. The last one held a pipe like chopping wood. But before he could act, Tuthan pulled a gun from a dimensional space, leaving them stunned, feeling as equal as standing before the Grim Reaper's blade. 3 shots rang out, sending all 3 to meet their ancestors. Tuthan stepped forward, mumbling, "I really remember there weren't this many fools in my past life. Could it be that my warning caused more people to survive, and this really happened?" He left 3 bodies with bullet holes in their foreheads, smoke still swirling, then headed to the biological laboratory about snakes. Standing at the door, Tuthan removed the broken lock and remarked, "Looks like no one's been here recently." Inside, a strong stench hit his nose. Observing many dead snakes, and the air was truly foul. Suddenly, Tuthan's gaze stopped at a glass cage. He smiled. "Found you now." Inside was a snake with 4 horns on its head, biting the head of another snake, its cold eyes staring at Tuthan. He laughed. The future leader of the water snake legion, Wangjin snake. Watching the snake digest its kind, Tuthan said, "Haha, so this is how you survive." He recalled the last life when this snake caused global chaos, devouring countless people, even almost swallowing him whole. Tuthan silently continued, "When the flood comes in a week, this snake will start to mutate. I don't know how far it will evolve like its ancestors. If we can't stop it, Earth will be in big trouble." He sensed why he felt this snake had evolved somewhat intellectually. "Seems like I need to be cautious with it." While deeply thinking about Wang Jin's snake, Tuthan suddenly heard rapid footsteps outside the door. A group of strangers armed appeared. Noticing Tuthan's presence, they became alert. Tuthan narrowed his eyes coldly. "Who's there?" The gangsters outside, with fierce faces hid behind the wall, loudly threatened, "Come out! We know you're hiding in there." Though their mouths were fierce, they were sweating with fear inside. Tuthan coldly replied it from inside, "This is a critical stage. I can't be disturbed by you." But before he finished, a figure appeared at the door, startling him. "Huh?" A silver-haired woman swiftly dashed into the gangsters. Turns out they weren't after Tuthan but her. The gangsters panicked, yelling, "Oh, damn dirty bitch hiding here." The leader charged forward, but the silver-haired woman acted first with terrifying speed. She snapped, one guy's neck squeezed another between her thighs, then spun in the air to neatly take down the last one. Before he could raise his gun, she choked him and he screamed, "You stinking bastard!" Crack, his cervical vertebra broke and he collapsed. After dealing with 3 guys, she was suddenly aimed at the head by Tuthan's gun. He praised good skills. Before Tuthan could say more, she reflexively knocked the gun away, bent down, and jumped up to try and restrain him. But after several failed attempts to twist his neck, she realized Tuthan's neck was as hard as steel. Fear mixed with confusion as she murmured, "Why can't I twist it?" Tuthan stood still like a statue while she struggled, trying to restrain him. Both fell into a compromising position. She panicked, shouting, "Huh? Wait, what are you doing?" Finally, two, then restrained her, tied her up with artistic red rope, pointed the gun, and asked, "Who are you?" She was sweating heavily, her clothes soaked but still firm. "I'm the captain of the Thung Hobak Thung Special Forces team. I advise you to behave properly and release me quickly." Tuthan heard the name Thung Ho and frowned slightly. "Thung Ho. So do you know someone named Lo Tu Fong?" Bok Tung asked in surprise. "You know Lo Tu Fong." Tuthan recalled having restrained Lo Tu Fong, seriously replied, "Ah, I saved his life." Then hearing Bok Thung's story, Tuthan opened his backpack, took out ingredients to make black pepper steak while nodding. "Now I understand." He speared a piece of rare beef and continued. "Another group of deserters has taken over the school as their base, holding the students hostage to threaten and steal weapons from your team." Bok Tuong continued about Lo Tu Fong. "That's right after the wave of zombies attacked the rescue point. Lo Tu Fong led everyone to leave first, but he didn't realize that the deserters from the prisoners had mixed in with the civilians." Tuthan was chewing a piece of seared beef voraciously while glancing at Bok Thuong and said slowly, "So I can't put all the blame on you." Bok Thuong, annoyed by Tuthan's sensuous way of tying her up, immediately defended herself. As long as I have a weapon, these people are nothing to fear. But sweat was pouring down her forehead, not only because of the artistic way she was tied up, but also because Tuthan calmly ate steak in front of her, which she struggled to suppress. She gritted her teeth. How much longer do you plan to keep me tied up? Untie me. Tuthan looked at Bok Thuong with a mischievous smile like someone holding the upper hand and asked meaningfully, then you have to promise me not to use your legs to squeeze my head like just now. Bok Thuong swallowed hard as she looked at the fragrant steak and replied, then I want to eat some steak too. Tuthan examined her body tightly bound by red cords seemingly impossible to untie. But with just a few swift movements, he quickly untangled her and set Bok Thuong free. From his space, Tuthan pulled out a sniper rifle and handed it to Bok Thuong, reminding her, I have my own business, so I can't help you much. I can only provide you with a bit of firepower. Then he coldly walked away, saying goodbye. Go quickly. Don't bother me. Tuthan didn't like to interfere in others' affairs. If others didn't involve him, Tuthan wouldn't take the initiative to act. His main goal now was to wait a week after the Great Flood came so that the golden serpent would develop, then kill it to harvest its core. Bok Thuong received the gun, quietly admiring. She realized Tuthan wasn't exactly a bad guy, and with his help, her plan would be more likely to succeed. She called out to him, planning to attack the upper stronghold of their enemies. Only this way could they retrieve the stolen items. From there, they could help those traps survive in the current environment. Watching Tuthan's back, Bok Thuong hesitated but hoped in her heart before continuing. So this might be the only time we meet. Before she could finish, Tuthan interrupted. Supplies, huh? As if an idea came to him, he turned back to his backpack and said while walking, wait a moment, like a magician. Tuthan pulled out a long, large sniper rifle from a small backpack, leaving Bok Thuong speechless with wide eyes. As he pulled out the gun, he explained, Lo Tio Fong means friendship to me. This time I'll go with you. The scene shifted to the University Administration Building where Tuthan graduated. The group of prison deserters was stationed here. Behind them were male students tightly tied up as hostages. The leader with a fierce face sat between two girls flirting with him, asking a subordinate who just returned from scouting. How's everything outside? The subordinate trembled under the leader's authority and hesitantly reported. Boss, the brothers are all preparing and waiting outside. We will definitely catch everyone hiding in the dormitory. The leader bared his teeth in a cold smile. Good, let the disobedient ones rush forward as human shields. If they don't obey and want to die, kill them immediately. While the deserters were still busy discussing their far-fetched plan, Tuthan suddenly rushed in, kicking the door open. The sudden action left them stunned, as if doused with cold water. As he stepped in, Tuthan spoke coldly. Excuse me, is there a meeting going on in here? The subordinates froze in fear. One reported that Tuthan had barged in without permission. Angry, someone pointed at him and shouted, Who the hell are you? How did you get in here? There are over 20 guards protecting the area outside. Seeing the subordinates' bewildered faces, Tuthan calmly approached with his hands in his pockets and replied, You're asking how I got in here? He raised his hand, signaling to aim the gun. His eyes were cold and sharp. That's thanks to this. Just as the henchman was about to ask more, his head suddenly disappeared. Blood splattered everywhere, terrifying the whole group. The fugitives trembled and screamed. Tuthan's face stared at the terrifying scene. The leader's eyes bulged as he stammered nonsense. What is happening? This guy just pointed at his head. For a moment, why did his head disappear? Tuthan pointed ahead, coldly warning, One more move, and you'll be joining your ancestors. The leader's face turned red with veins, popping sweat pouring down. Gritting his teeth, he growled, Young man, stop playing games. I rewind to just before the henchman was taken down. Bok Thuong confirmed through the earpiece from the sniper position. Target eliminated. Previously, Tuthan and Bok Thuong had planned meticulously. Tuthan volunteered to infiltrate the enemy area while Bok Thuong provided sniper support from the lab building. She continued watching through the scope, anxiously reminding Tuthan, There are many fugitives in the room right now. Bok Thuong, you are in a very dangerous situation. She emphasized how reckless it was for him to storm the enemy's lair alone. Bok Thuong recalled when Tuthan proposed the plan, only asking her to support from afar. He said she just needed to hold the sniper rifle and provide cover from the opposite building. I would directly go over there and lure the enemies out. When I signal which one you take them out. Looking back, Bok Thuong regretted. I really agreed to such a ridiculous plan. Tuthan was worried. She looked through the scope, but suddenly the window curtain flew open, blocking her view. Panicked, Bok Thuong pressed the earpiece and shouted, Tuthan, why did the curtain suddenly fly open like that? What's happening to you in there? No response from Totan. Instead, the leader's voice came through. Kid, don't think that just because you set up a sniper outside, you can do whatever you want to us. Hearing this, Bok Thung immediately retracted her gun and dashed to the main building to rescue Totan. Running, she thought the plan has obviously been exposed. Fearful for Totan's safety, she protected her partner like a mother leopard at rushing downstairs with all her might, shouting through the earpiece. Totan, find a way to stall. I'm coming to rescue you right now. While Bok Thung hurried, the leader's order came over the earpiece. Kill that kid for me. Bok Thung gritted her teeth and cursed. Damn it, it's too late now. She rushed faster. Her eyes bloodshot. She yelled, damn it, thought Totan was gone. She regretted agreeing to such a foolish plan. Just stepping into the fugitives area, Bok Thung raised her gun and shouted angrily into the room. Totan, I'm here to avenge you. But what she saw was completely different from what she imagined. All the fugitives from the leader down to the henchmen had been taken care of by Totan lying unconscious on the floor like storm-fallen branches. Totan, still holding the unconscious leader's neck, lifted him up calmly and said, you're late. There isn't a single bit of supplies here. After clearing the admin building, Totan both defeated the gangsters and gathered all the supplies into the space rift like a collector storing trophies. He coldly informed the men before him, everything here I'm keeping for now. If you guys survive and behave honestly, maybe I'll share some later. But life doesn't go as dreamed. The captain of the death row crew was in a half-dead state, his neck gently stroked by Totan's body floating in midair. He gasped, trying to use his last breath to threaten Tosan of Mr. Than, you can't kill me. Otherwise, the person behind me won't spare you. Totan thought being a death row inmate meant being a boss, but facing Totan was death row in the literal sense. Totan squeezed the leader's neck until a crack sounded, turning the threat into the final will, as if preparing to send him off on the first day of the lunar month. Totan's face cold as ice declared, don't worry, those guys will soon be joining you. Back to the present, Bok Thung hurriedly ran from the opposite building to save Totan. Witnessing the unbelievable scene, the prisoners lay scattered, while Totan calmly dealt with the last one. She blinked in confusion and stammered, did you kill all those people? Totan quickly covered up, I just regularly exercise. Plus, all supplies in this area are gone. These guys must have been starving to the point of exhaustion. Bok Thung nodded at the explanation, feeling it made sense in the apocalypse, where anything could happen. But with her curiosity and responsibility as a member of the Thuong Ho team, she asked, could there be others here who stole their supplies? If all the supplies here are gone, then what will the remaining students do? Totan said nothing, only thinking quietly. If needed, I'll share some supplies from the dimensional space, but I have to see how they perform first. This school where Totan studied was as familiar to him as a deeply engraved map in his mind. Thanks to handling the prisoners, he managed to extract quite a bit of information. He turned and stepped out the door, telling Bok Thung, let's go to the girls' dorm. Bok Thung, still stunned from what had just happened, asked blankly, why go to the girls' dorm now? She hurriedly ran after Totan as she asked. He glanced back and explained, while dealing with things earlier, I asked around. Lu Tiufong and the other students are gathered over there. The scene shifts inside the room where Totan is handling the prisoner crew. On the ceiling, bodies hung suspended, but suddenly a woman's body moved and made strange noises. The woman opened her eyes, her gaze eerie, as if she had witnessed everything from the beginning to the end. Outside the administrative building, a prisoner wearing an iron mask over his jaw with a bad boy haircut appeared. He was Kwang Ya man who had just escaped prison, hands in pockets, strolling leisurely. Kwang Ya clicked his tongue in annoyance. That brat seems to be causing trouble outside again. Entering the building, he was cold and it was unclear if he was already dead or not. Shortly after, Kwang Ya's men searched everywhere and found a girl hanging from the ceiling. They yelled loudly, reporting, found her, the Big Brother team leader is still alive. That girl with a sharp haircut and alluring figure, half covered and half exposed, covered in scars, was the team's captain. Kwang Ya knew her perverse tastes and wasn't worried, just clicking his tongue. What a pity. Unlike Kwang Ya's indifferent attitude, his men hurriedly shouted, release the captain immediately. One quickly cut the restraint rope around her waist and slowly lowered her down. Upon touching the ground, she propped herself up on a chair, weak but still calm, speaking to Kwang Ya, I was just brushing past death for fun. Right now I need comfort and care from you. Kwang Ya immediately pulled out the spiked rope from her back, squinting his eyes with a sinister smile. Oh yeah, Witnesses to this scene probably guessed that Captain Na liked BDSM finding pleasure in pain. Kwang Ya, like a loyal partner, whipped Captain Na's body continuously. Despite the pain, she oozed pleasure like a twisted melody. Kwang Ya asked in a deep voice with delight, "How do you feel now?" Unlike most who would panic at the whip, Captain Na, with a satisfied and graceful expression, replied, "Much better now." Seeing her recover, Kwang Ya probed, "So you definitely saw it, right?" He let Captain Na sit on him in a dazed state. Kwang Ya asked carefully, "Who dared to steal my supplies?" Then Captain Na stuck out her tongue, eyes tightly shut, answering incoherently, "It was someone like a demon." Coming to her senses after the trance, she was cold. The scene shifts to the girls' dormitory where To Than and Bak Thuong meet Lu Fong and the other students. Seeing Lu Fong injured, Bak Thuong anxiously yelled, "Tu Fong, how did you get hurt?" Lu Fong smiled reassuringly at Captain Bak. "I'm fine. Seeing you come back unharmed is really good." He held his wounded abdomen, looking at To Than suspiciously. "Tu Than, why are you here too?" Bak Thuong explained, "This person said he was your savior." To Than ignored her words and turned to Lu Fong. "Ah, your wound is pretty serious. Let me check it." Lu Fong removed the bandage, explaining, "Actually, it's just a scratch. At first, it didn't feel too serious, but for some reason, the wound kept getting worse." Totan observed the ulcerated wound, stroked his chin thoughtfully, then confirmed, "It's from the Thao tribe, also those cannibals. Their claws carry harmful bacteria and corrosive viruses. If not treated in time, it could be life-threatening." Lo Fong was calm, seemingly unafraid of death, but still hesitant. "But medicine right now is a rare resource that can't be easily found. I just feel that if I die like this, I really won't accept it." While Lo Fong was still hesitating, Totan pulled several boxes of medicine from his magical backpack and pressed them into his face. "Take this, it should be enough." Lo Fong was stunned in surprise. Bak Thung, witnessing Totan's generosity, also asked in amazement, "Where did you get so much medicine?" Totan replied casually with a crooked smile, "I already told you I am the benefactor who saved his life." In his mind, memories from his previous life recalled a character with unmatched power called the Wind God Man, whose combat strength rivaled nuclear weapons. Totan thought silently that if Lo Fong was that person, this investment would never lose. With Lo Fong's upright and righteous style, Totan believed this was a bet worth making. Receiving invaluable help, more precious than diamonds, from Totan, Lo Fong couldn't help but feel grateful, but still held heavy curiosity. He asked, "Now I owe you a favor, but I know you definitely didn't come here just to give me medicine. Tell me, why did you actually come here?" Todan's face was emotionless, like ice, coldly warning everyone present. "The Great Flood is coming. You all better evacuate quickly." Like a prophet, he explained that extreme heat had caused glaciers in cold regions to almost completely melt, resulting in saltwater intrusion. By then, this entire school would surely be submerged by the Great Flood. Todan's words left everyone bewildered, half believing, half doubting, as if facing a vague prophecy. Bak Tung, eyes suspicious, hesitantly asked, "The Great Flood right now?" Just then a villainous figure appeared. Fung Tin, Totan's old classmate, recognized him. She thought Totan was scheming, placing her hand on her chest angrily, objecting and shouting nonsense. "Where is this Great Flood coming from? I feel like you just want to drive us away and monopolize the school's resources alone." I then glanced at the speaker and immediately recognized Fung Tin, a wealthy classmate, a famous feminist at school who always tried to create conflict between men and women. He thought silently with cold eyes. Fung Tin ignored Totun's silence, her gaze fixed on the backpack he hugged to his chest, hunger and curiosity making her uncomfortable, sarcastically asking, "Is there food in that bag of yours?" Before Totun could answer, Fung Tin, with her rich girl habit, lunged forward to grab the backpack, shouting, "Let me see what's inside." If this were a previous life, Totun might have handed over the backpack right away. But now it was different. For anyone who dared to rush in and cause trouble, Totun immediately gave a stunning slap. Fung Tin was no exception. The slap made her cheeks swell like she'd been stung by a bee, holding her broken front tooth. Trembling, she asked, "How dare you hit me?" Everyone expected Totan's action to cause a negative reaction, but Fung Tin was known as a bad person. Seeing her get slapped, the surrounding students cheered excitedly. "Well done." "Who told her to mess up the rhythm?" Another added, "She dared to take over a dorm room alone. I've been annoyed by her for a long time." Another voice joined in. "That's right. Doesn't she just have some money from home? Get her out of here quickly." then glanced at the crowd and clicked my tongue looking at Fung Tin, thinking she's not a very good person either. Fung Tin's face reddened with anger, her cheek distorted, eyes blazing as she shouted, "You lowly men! How dare you treat me like this? Fine, now I'm going to find my dad and tell him to deal with all of you." Frustrated, she stormed off, not sure if she was really going to her dad or just bluffing, making the brothers chuckle. Bok Toon watched Fung Tin run out and worriedly asked Totun, "Doing that won't cause any problems, right?" Tun, who didn't like to answer directly, responded evasively, "She wants to find her dad. Do you want to stop her yourself?" Fung Tin cursed as she walked, saying all domestic men are cowards, especially that bastard Tothan. These guys could never compare to foreign gentlemen. But she didn't know there was a big hand sneaking up behind her with ill intentions. Kwang Ya heard the name. Tothan silently approached, one hand covering her mouth, the other holding her tightly, restraining her. With a perverted look, he gritted his teeth and asked, "Little treasure, quickly, tell your brother where that Tothan is." After talking with Lo Tufong and Bok Thuong Totun, left to pursue his plan, saying goodbye to him as he stepped out of the dorm, silently thinking the evacuation of civilians would be temporarily handled by Bok Thuong's group. Opening his phone to look at the picture of Wang Kim Sha, Tothan told himself the most important plan now was to wait for Wang Kim Sha to mutate, then eliminate it. I wonder if I can get the power to control water. I was lost in thought when a groan from a nearby vehicle startled Tothan. He looked up and saw Fung Tin tied and hanging from a crane by Kwang Ya, continuously moaning for help. "Tothan, save me." Tothan showed no mercy, sarcastically. "Oh, so fast. You found your dad already." Kwang Ya stood proudly on top of the vehicle, looking at Tothan as if he wanted to devour him, laughing loudly. "Haha. I am Kwang Ya from the evolution base." He narrowed his eyes threateningly. "Are you Tothan? Didn't expect you to dare steal our resources. I thought you were some six-armed, three-headed terrorist." Tothan coldly asked back, "Are you from the evolution base?" Kwang Ya patted the truck bed, confirming, "That's right, since this is our first meeting, I deliberately prepared a welcoming gift for you." He unlocked the container, pushed the door open, and inside a bunch of red-eyed, mutated hounds growled and charged out. Kwang Ya stood on the truck roof, pointing at the hounds, challenging, "So I want to ask if you're ready to die." The fight between Tothan and Kwang Ya made a loud noise that startled Bok Thuong and Lo Tufong in the female dormitory. Bok Thuong worriedly seeing the direction. Tothan left, worried both about Tothan and Lo Tufong's wound, ordered, "I'm going out to check." "Little Fong, you direct people here to protect everyone, but Lo Tufong owes Tothan, so he firmly refused." "I'm going too." Back to the battle, Kwang Ya laughed loudly on the truck roof, herding the zombies toward Tothan. Fung Tin hung suspended on the crane, teased by Kwang Ya. "Tothan, this girl is your classmate, right? I'll give you a chance to be a hero and save the beauty. Just kneel and beg for mercy, and I'll let her go." Tothan raised his hand to his chin, thinking actually saving her isn't impossible. A few minutes ago, he slapped Fung Tin. Now he changed to a tender tone, making her hopeful. "Really yelling yes to, then you really are a good person. Then quickly kneel down and save me." But Tothan looked up, coldly interrupting. "But there's a problem?" Fung Tin was puzzled. What problem could there be? "Didn't you just say you would save me?" "I clearly heard every word that you said you would save me." Realizing Tothan was joking, she got angry, her eyes bloodshot. "You yourself said you would save me. Now you want to change your mind? Are you even a man?" Tothan recalled her curses about domestic men, sarcastically. "That's not even up for discussion. Of course I'm a man, but I feel unworthy to save you. Or maybe I should contact those foreign gentlemen to see if they agree to save you." Tothan's words made Fung Tin tremble with anger, sweat pouring, eyes filled with hatred. "So you're really that kind of person? Because I said you're petty and cowardly, just one sentence, and you have the heart to take revenge on me like this." She screamed, "Do you think I will have to apologize to you? Then basely beg you to save me. The truth proves you are a cowardly, despicable, lowly man. I don't need a lowlife like you to save me." But before he could look down, Tothan pityingly pointed downward, smiling, "Oh, is that so? I hope you remember every single word I just said later." Fung Tin, with her seductive figure, was made the target of the zombies after Kwang Ya dressed her in a primitive dress. They climbed over each other and bit into her body, causing excruciating pain. Fung Tin screamed, "Help, help me, Tothan. I was wrong. Please save me." "Save me," Kwang Ya laughed loudly, pointing at Tothan. "Haha. You really are the kind who sees death and doesn't save. But that's fine. After all, in the end, you're going to go with this bitch anyway. Right now, I'm going to open your eyes to the technology of our evolution base. He pulled out a jar of makeup-like liquid, applied it to his face, boasting, as long as I apply this powder on myself, I can make the zombies down there obedient and listen. Oh, Than said, coldly and sarcastically. Oh, you're putting that on the bone. Indeed, this is quite useful. I think this can make those zombies mistake you for one of them. The words hit Kwang Ya's low IQ. He was stunned, sweating, staring at the powder he'd applied. Stammering for her panicked, he spat and gagged disgustedly like an innocent boy being pranked. Kwang Ya angrily shouted, "Damn it, all of you, come up here and tear him to pieces. Bring me the zombies." Growling, he charged at Then, calmly taking a defensive stance, crossing his arms like the Black Panther Wakanda using spatial superpowers. Two sharp swords, like close combat assassins, sprouted from his hands. In a flash, Than transformed into a swordsman on Zoro's level from One Piece. He dashed through the zombies, swinging his sword to chop heads, necks, chests, and limbs, looking as cool as a flying dragon and dancing phoenix. After the performance, Than lightly landed on the ground. Kwang Ya thought Than had been killed disdainfully. This damn kid is about to die and still dares to mess around in front of me. But seeing the zombies stand still and Than suddenly appear in front of him, he was startled. How the hell did you get up here? Bak Tuong and Lo Tiufeng ran to the battle area, seeing Than surrounded by zombies and Kwang Ya acting viciously worried. Bak Tuong exclaimed, "It's over, Than." She looked at Kwang Ya in alarm. He's surrounded. Kwang Ya, pranked by Than, went crazy, yelling, "Damn it, what are you standing there for? Get up here immediately for me." Than dusted off his shirt calmly. "Don't bother shouting anymore, it's pointless." The sword strokes just now started to take effect. The zombies slowly collapsed, their bodies falling apart. Than explained, "Because you're just wasting your strength." Kwang Ya was stunned by the horrifying scene. "What is this? How can this be?" Not wanting to waste words, then activated his space, stepped in, then appeared behind Kwang Ya coldly. "I never intended to interact with your evolution base anyway." He grabbed Kwang Ya's face tightly, holding his head still. Kwang Ya panicked, Than reminded him. "But who told you to come and trying to kill me?" He pulled Kwang Ya's head with force. "Since you said that, I can't keep your worthless life anymore." Kwang Ya, painfully, eyes bloodshot, screamed, "What are you planning to do?" "I'll stop." Than smiled horrifically, pulling hard, causing Kwang Ya's neck to crack and tear savagely. A gruesome scene. Weak-hearted viewers, please skip a few seconds. Bak Tuong witnessed Than dealing with the zombies and Kwang Ya stunned, thinking he handled that guy in the blink of an eye. That guy was the same before. This definitely isn't something simple that can be done by just daily physical training. What kind of monster is this person anyway? Than held Kwang Ya's severed head in one hand, his other hand in his pocket, coolly dealing with these small fry. "Maybe I should still hold back a little. It would be better if I had some strong backup." Scene shifts to Hotel 6 City, where the temperature is cool and the breeze carries moisture into the room. President Na Lam still hasn't shaken off the feeling of being roughed up by Than all night. She arched her back, mouth wide open, as if still dreaming of being beaten by Than. Nyalam gasped, one hand placed beneath. What fate? Don't be surprised to suddenly wake up, cheeks flushed, red sweat pouring out. She called out to Than in confusion, jumped up with a flushed face and shouted, "Don't abandon me." Nyalam, in a thin nightgown, clinging to her vibrant body, was panting, as if just escaping a terrible nightmare. What nightmare? You probably just imagined it after those recent images, right? Haha. Nyalam's tired eyes. Breathing heavily, muttering that she dreamed about that name again. Why hasn't he come back yet? Suddenly, a loud bang outside startled Nyalam, who turned around in confusion. She recalled Than's words before leaving cold and etched into her mind, "If you're useless, what right do you have to stand beside me?" Those words felt like a knife that woke Nyalam up. She gritted her teeth and told herself, "Than, I definitely won't be your burden. I won't drown in dreams anymore." Nyalam jumped up, tightly gripping the six-shooter beside her, determined, "I will become your strong right hand." The clacking sound from the next room shattered the silence. In her sexy nightgown, Nyalam looked like the heroine in a cop and robber game that you guys surely love. Hey. She coldly pushed open the door and stepped out. Her sharp gaze was like a hunting leopard's, but she froze when she saw nothing unusual. Nyalam scanned around, muttering, "Strange, the sound clearly came from this side." Suddenly, another bang behind her made her anxiously turn around. With a flicker of fear inside, she wondered when that thing appeared behind her. In front of Nyalam was a silver zombie baring its teeth and growling its bloodshot eyes rooted her to the spot, sweat pouring down. She stood frozen as if trapped in nothingness, silently thinking it appeared behind me. If anyone were here, she would have screamed for help, but now Na Lam only felt her heart racing in panic before the suddenly appearing zombie. Still in her sexy nightgown, Nan Halam backed away slowly, eyes fixed on the grotesque silver zombie closing in on her. Silently thinking, when did it appear behind me? Trying to find a way to escape, she retreated step by step, but suddenly her hip bumped into the edge of the table. Glancing, she realized one side was blocked by the silver zombie, the other by a chair, and behind her was the table. No way out, sweat rolling down, she thought. This isn't good, the table and chairs are blocking behind me. While struggling to find an escape plan, Nalam suddenly looked down and recognized the six-shooter in her hand, happily thinking she was right. She has a gun. Although sexy in appearance, she was a bit clumsy. Hastily raising the gun, she accidentally hit the chair, causing the gun to fall onto the table with a loud noise. The silver zombie, triggered by the sound, went crazy, eyes blazing red, drooling disgusting saliva as it lunged toward the noise. Nyalam dared not look at the horrifying scene curling up, but still maintaining her sexy S-curve. Seeing the silver zombie attack, she closed her eyes in despair. This time I'm definitely dead. But strangely, the silver zombie didn't charge at her. It seemed blind, ignoring the delicacy in front of it, biting a chair instead, but realizing what it bit wasn't food. The silver zombie stepped back in confusion, repeatedly sniffing the air around Nalam. Nyalam slowly opened her eyes, realizing she was still alive. Seeing the silver zombie sniffing, she quietly pressed back, propping her hands on the table, though this pose looked a bit awkward, guys. She stared bewildered into the bloodshot eyes of the silver zombie, silently thinking, why does this guy keep using his nose to sniff like that? Could it be that it can't see anything? Honestly, this silver zombie's eyes look really goofy, like the actors in the movie The Landlord's Daughter, Sweet, and the blind worker guy. Luckily, it kept moving close, sniffing Nalam's body scent. She tried to back away, but her S-curves made dodging difficult, like being stuck in a cruel play. Nyalam's face grimacing as she thought, I escaped once, but now it's too close. Just a small noise and it'll tear me apart. What should I do now in this situation? While the silver zombie growled and kept sniffing her scent, Nalam suddenly remembered the gun she dropped. The gun, right, just need to get the gun. She twisted her body and pushed her hips back, stretching her whole body to reach the gun on the table, striking a pose that would make you guys drool, just an inch away from grabbing it. Nyala muttered to encourage herself, just a little more. But in that inviting pose, the silver zombie suddenly noticed the noise she made, went wild, growling and turning its ear toward her. Nyalam startled and turned to look into the monster's bloodshot eyes, silently thinking, it's over. The creature stood right behind her, growling terrifyingly, causing her to panic. But in that life or death moment, the image, in words of Toothan, appeared in her mind like a fire igniting her will. My resources are limited, and I can't keep you just because you're beautiful. Finding the core in the monster's head means gaining supernatural powers. I will never harbor a useless person. Those words struck Nalam's pride. She gritted her teeth, eyes blazing with anger, and shouted, I'm not useless. She kicked with the heel of her high-heel shoe.